Sure, we got some people in here already. Yeah, we already got some folks in here. Damn, we got some super chats and everything going on. What's up with you, Coop? How you doing today?
Yeah, I'm good. Healthy
Good, good,
conversation was good day.
good, good. Well, let's get to one of the super chats real quick, man. CJ the Kid says, "Silly question. With all the death that you do, I'm sorry, with all the death, do you think it's a type of rapper that you will warrant the attention of wrong people? Just saying. Cole riding his bike, and you never hear anything about anybody trying him. Yeah, we're gonna get into all of that. We're definitely gonna get into all of that. I think that a lot of the times in the media, specifically, it's a convenient time to blame the music when, in my personal opinion, it's more of a cultural problem. But hey, we'll get to all of those things. I want to make sure that we didn't miss any super chats. I know we just jumped right into it, man. What's going on from your side, Coop?
As far as what?
All of this.
I don't like it, Mike, at all. Something ain't right.
Yeah. All right. Well, I guess I'm gonna start from this, man. Rest
Well,
in peace to Takeoff because
I've just
you
heard
know
too
me,
many
I'm a
stories.
fan.
I've just heard too many stories, Mike, including the story you just told me before we went live.
Well, I was just kind of. I mean, just so people know, I was just telling Coop what I saw. I was actually watching DJ Academic break the case and do his investigating live on YouTube. What was that last night? And it was some very interesting findings. It was interesting enough that people put their whereabouts everywhere on social media to the point where you can basically put a face with a name without actually being a real detective. Um, but I do want to say this though, man. I'm a Migos fan, and anybody who watched this show knows that I am. And that hurt, man. That sucks to actually hear that because it was one of those things where I already knew that the group, was kind of like shaky grounds anyway. And I was happy for the Unk and Few project. The chemistry was there. That chemistry that Quavo and Takeoff have, I mean, they grew up together. You know what I'm saying? Like he's known him since his birth, and so my introduction to the group actually was when Offset was locked up. So my introduction to the group was their chemistry, and the Young Rich Niggas project, with Chinatown, all of that stuff on there. I actually listened to that album, yesterday too. It They have fun together. You and I just got through talking about Ghostface and Ray and Red and Meth, and I was talking about how I love that Blackout album so much because of the chemistry. And I'm not gonna sit here and say that, I'm saying the Migos are the best lyrical miracle MCs out there. But when it comes to actually, those guys making music together, the chemistry that they had before, Offset kind of became more of a solo act, it was undeniable. And it sucks that not only did they lose a brother or, even a nephew and a cousin in that sense, but that group's just never going to be able to be whole again. And and it's so senseless too, on top of that. It's a terrible thing. Terrible thing. As a fan, and as a fan of hip hop, as a fan of them, and just as a resident of Atlanta, man. I mean, they did a lot for the city. They put the city on their. I won't say put the city on their back. We always had a lot of stuff going on, but they were a big part of the new wave of Atlanta getting huge and going global again. And believe it or not, I know the other two members were a lot more flashy and flamboyant than he, but he had a lot to do with the group coming together in the first place. I think he's the one that actually convinced Quavo to rap in the first place. He was even though he was the youngest, you could tell he was the one that was the most serious about, rapping and putting pen to paper because I mean you can hear it in his raps.
what I would submit to you, man, it's just so senseless. You know, you know what? I'm going to reference it the best way that I know how. I talked to my daughter yesterday. Like Mike, when she got on the phone, she was like, "Daddy." Like the way she said it, it's like I knew she. I was like, just wait till I get more information, and we'll reconvene with this tomorrow. So when she hops in the car today and we're going where we're going, she's like, so she was like, over a dice game, Daddy? Like, she was like, everybody's blaming Quavo. And I'm like, hold up. I'm like, let's slow down. I'm like, the only person who is to blame is the shooter.
Right.
Period, point blank, in the story. So I want you to understand, like, just in a day of the media cycle, that it kind of traveled to my teenage daughter, like, 7 G's in a dice game. Quavo got upset. Takeoff wasn't even saying nothing. Quavo was saying something. It popped off. Like, that's how my daughter's jumping in the car with the information. You feel what I'm saying?
Right.
And so it's like, so we just happen to have a fundamental conversation about who's fundamentally wrong in these conversations. So that's the media again. Because I'm having to explain that shit to my teenager, like, nah, like the only motherfucker at fault right now is the shooter. I was like, you understand that?
Right. I mean, point blank, period.
That's the only thing we need to be talking about right now is who the shooter is and then the why. Like, what the fuck is the rest of this?
Well, that's the thing too.
Did nobody ask these motherfuckers? Like, did nobody ask you, like, shooter? There's been a murder. Witnesses.
Right.
What we doing?
And that's the thing too, and I want to get to that in a second. 007 with the super chat says, respect for the dead, but what could Takeoff have done to avoid that? Rappers worth millions in that situation. Should he have been there in the first place? Well, you know what? That was kind of my initial thought, and I think that's a lot of people's initial thought. But when you actually look at, and I hate to, and I'm going to use DJ Academic as a reference because, I mean, it's not like he went out there and inflated anything. He just took the footage that everybody else saw and was actually able to analyze who was there and put faces with the names. For the most part, they were around their peers. It wasn't like, they were around people they knew. It wasn't like they were in some random club or hole-in-the-wall club where, a group of people from the other side or whatever just came through and nobody knew who was who. So I don't know what to say to that question, 007, actually. I mean, you would think that you're around people you know and people that you know that you're cool. You know what I'm saying? So it wasn't like he was in some random place where he didn't know folks. So, I don't know how to answer that. I mean, again, senseless. Damn, what was I going to say, man? I lost my train of thought. I did want to say something about the fact that...
a lot. And it's wrong.
Yeah. Yeah, this is what I was going to say when you were talking about the shooter. I know that the coroner came back and was saying that, it was a shot to the head and it was a shot to the stomach that went through his shoulder. And I know we keep getting the information saying it was a stray bullet. But with 2 of those shots, I don't understand how that's a stray bullet. I mean, in my mind, I'm no, detective or anything like that. But at first, we were getting the information that, it was an accident or whatever. And, you can see that with 1 shot, maybe, somebody misfired or something ricocheted off of something like we saw with Bankroll Fresh. But 2, I don't know. It's weird. But saying all that to say, though, I think that, in hip hop, I mean, a lot of people are out here kind of blaming the music and this and that. But I think there's a conflict in hip hop when it comes to criminality, I think. And I think that when it comes to things like this happening, like you said, you got a small group of people, everybody knows each other. And obviously the people who were there and, they pinged that they were there. Social media has them there. They can't deny that. None of those things. But now nobody saw anything. And it's like, I know it's the un-hip hop thing to do to go out there and, quote unquote, cooperate with law enforcement. But what about the mother of Takeoff? Like, what, what I'm saying? What kind of justice do we want? I think hip hop kind of teeters that line of justice in the streets. And this is why people have room to say things like, well, if it was a white cop, everybody would have known who did it. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, well, if that's the case, if somebody retaliates and slides back on whoever did this, I don't want the same lack of energy put forth. You feel me?
I
Right.
mean,
Do you see what I'm saying?
I hear that. I hear that, but
No. But let me finish because,
mhm.
like, this is the please, if I may, because
No,
this
go
is the
ahead.
part of it, like, and it's like this is how shit gets unfortunate. Because here's the reality of the matter, and here's how I just look at it as a man. Let's take the music out of it. Whatever the problem was, and this is just how I was raised. And this is project shit. This is hood shit, ghetto shit. Whatever you want, whatever you inner city blues make me want to holler. Throw up
Mhm.
both my hands. Whatever you want to call it. I was taught that as a man, if you and a man cannot come to an agreement with your words, there is like it's just like how police have a reasonable force continuum that they're supposed to use and a code that they're supposed to follow in terms of the level of lethal force that they're supposed to use in the escalate. It's got the same rules, Mike. You feel me?
Mm-hmm.
And if you cannot settle things with your words, you resort to your hands next. And too often, what I'm seeing is happening is that these matters are escalating themselves in a manner and in a fashion where the words are not solving the problem, and it goes all the way to the highest level on the force continuum. And that makes me think two things. Niggas is scared and really don't know how to fight.
Ain't nobody trying to take that L.
And I mean that sincerely. And we need to start maybe addressing that as a community and teaching our young men, I keep like, oh, if you, I don't respect somebody that has to resort to this instead of using their fucking hands as
Of
a man.
course.
Like, I don't know what respect or street credibility you were searching for, but you're not about to get it here from the likes of me ever with shit like that, because that's what I would consider where I'm from. We would call that a weak ass move. It's like, oh, why can't you just box the nigga?
Well,
I
I
can
mean,
remember
it's
times
funny
when
you mentioned boxing because you know who was standing right next to Takeoff during this whole time? Well, again, academic revealed this too. It was the boxer, Shakir Stevenson. And you know what I'm saying? So you would think that, even in those situations, people are like, look, people got a disagreement, let's go with the hands. You got a professional boxer right here.
Mike, haven't you seen a hood sanctioned fight before?
Yeah.
Like, Mike, we done got off the school bus. We got niggas watching the points of the neighborhood, make sure police ain't rolling through, make sure parents ain't rolling through. We get in a circle, swab.
But you know what has ended that though? Social media. Ain't nobody trying to take no L on camera. Nobody's trying to go out there and get roasted on Twitter and Instagram and have a video. Nobody's trying to have.
Get my ass
I
whooped.
feel you. I mean, Marquez said what I was gonna say. He said the male ego. Ego, man. Male ego is the most dangerous thing. And that's ego when you don't want to go out there and put up
play with
hands.
me out here. That's what I'm saying. When you say that male ego, no, I'd rather whoop a nigga ass so he know not to play with me out here.
I feel you, but again, people ain't trying to take that chance.
It's like, no. Remember when I had to fuck you up, right?
But people ain't trying to take that chance. People ain't trying to take that chance of taking that L, man. And and that's that ego.
That's the part of it that I don't like and don't respect about it at all. Because it's like, well, I didn't hear anything in any of the stories about any sort of real fight breaking out. You understand what I'm saying?
Well, somebody
there wasn't a real escalation of this. I didn't hear anything about anybody being punched, anybody being dragged, slammed up against anything, any sort of objects being thrown. It's like, oh, so it was like disagreement, tool work.
Well, somebody swung first, and then the tools came out.
Somebody swung and the tools came out? I mean, that's usually where you're supposed to keep fighting.
Yeah. Jay Short with the super chat says, real street dudes ain't shooting nobody over no dice game. These are dusty dudes hypnotized with hatred and controlled by emotions. Again, I don't want to sit here and act like I'm a detective or anything, and I know I didn't even want to come up here and even talk about this. I'd rather talk about his music and, what they've done. But the thing is, man, like, it's hard to believe that people you came with that you was cool with a couple of hours ago had a couple of drinks and a disagreement about some basketball and now guns come out. It makes it feel like there is some level of hatred somewhere. You know what I'm saying? Like, damn, bro. Like, for real? Dante Smith of the Super Chat says, people have historically misunderstood snitching. Why should a regular 9 to 5 cat who have to inherit to street rules just because they're black? And that's the interesting thing about the women that were there, because a lot of them were like models, strippers or whatever. You know what I'm saying? And
So
guests. And guests. So they weren't in the streets or whatever, whatever. And I get it. They got to live in Houston and whatever, whatever. But at the
no, a
same
lot of them girls are street, Michael. No, a lot of them girls are street girls. Like, don't get that twisted to make it seem like,
Well,
oh, well,
some
they're
of them
just
made it
dancing.
clear
No,
that they
no, no,
weren't.
no.
I feel you, but I'm saying some of them made it clear that they weren't. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean,
But
I don't necessarily give a fuck. I don't necessarily give a fuck nor believe that either.
but let's just say hypothetically they were, and they would just guess. You know
Right,
what I'm saying?
right, right,
Should Is
right.
everybody that was in that function in the streets? Like, some people just wanted to go to a Halloween party. Some people
No,
just
no, no.
wanted to
Some people
bowl.
just got no. Some people got enough money or connected enough to be in the room. I feel that.
Yeah. So it's like, but see, this is the thing. What do you do here? And no, I guess my question is, what is actual justice here? Because it's hard to say that you truly care and love someone if you don't want to get justice for them. Like, I would hope that if somebody unnecessarily killed me and you saw it, then you know what I'm saying, you would get them in where they need to go. Turn them in. I would rather you turn them in than you have to risk your life being locked up by trying to do it another way. You know what I mean?
Oh no, we sliding, but whatever. Like, everybody got their way of handling shit. You know what I'm saying?
I feel you.
Like,
I feel
like
you.
that's what I'm saying. Like, this is what I mean about how shit gets unfortunate. You see, this is what I mean. Like, there's something about using your hands as a man that makes you a man and makes you feel like a man when you do it. Like, I mean, even with little shit, I can remember the first time I started putting things together in the house for my daughter, like when it was Christmas time. You know what I mean? And I have to put like little sets and shit together. No, no, no. There's an accomplishment about that. Like, no, no, no. There's something about saying, like, yeah, me and that dude had a problem, but I had to straighten his ass out. Or like, he straightened my ass out, but I fought that nigga again and whooped his ass the second time around. Like, you remember Gangs in New York, Mike?
Mm-hmm.
That's grown man shit. You feel me? It's like where a nigga get his ass stomped out and like, no, fuck that. Like, you want to get it on me? Oh, well, let's go get it on. Like, but not to, you know what I'm saying? Like, this shit.
What's next, though? Do you think
You can keep
anything?
it.
I mean, what positive? And I want to, get into a positive direction, because things can get deeper and deeper into the negative. Like, what do you think positive can come from this unfortunate situation?
I mean, see, here's the thing about it. It's like, what type of function and venue is sick? Like, so when people are talking about, like hip hop in the streets, I was in a chat where I was just kind of explaining to somebody, it's like, well, you have relationships with people, who help make things happen, like in every city. You get what I'm saying? When you're an artist, you have relationships with not just people who are major in the industry, but people who make the city that you're in run so that you can move around comfortably, so to speak. You get what I'm saying?
All right.
And so you mix and mingle with these people. You know what I'm saying? And what these people do when you're not in town really isn't your business, even though you may know what they do or how they do. You get what I'm saying, Mike? And
I
so
think
people
I
have to
follow.
understand it just kind of comes with the territory. I got invited somewhere earlier this year. I mean, Mike, it was like, it was a whole convention. And it's like, the type of like scenario like that I'm just not like, going to speak about like on camera. And it's like, it's like I'm Coop from According to Hip Hop now. But it's like because of some of my ties and some of the people I know, it's like, and I don't say no because it's like that's not how it goes. You feel what I'm saying? And so, like, there are certain codes and rules and things that, like, apply, like, when you move. And it's just like, this is the life we chose. Like, you have to accept certain things if you're going to step into certain forms and arenas. And here's what I mean about using your hands. And we're supposed to be able to step into those arenas comfortably. It's like, like I was in a spot where didn't nobody know me. really, but who bought me? You know what I'm saying? But like, motherfuckers asked questions about me and like came up to me and spoke to me. Like they didn't do no funny shit like try to roll up on me and jack my car or like, you know what I'm saying? They was like, yo, they was asking my folks, like, who is this nigga? She like, oh, that's such and such. They'd be like, oh, yeah, that's such and such. You look familiar from you know? The shit goes like that when you out here, Mike. Like it goes like that when you're out here, and so it's like, and you can't tell that these men that they can't do that because they're not really doing anything wrong. Mike, like Quavo and Takeoff don't live there. They're in town for the night. They want to have a good time. They want to be around people who know how to have a good time like they do, who have comparable money, comparable fins, comparable lifestyle, who understand the way that they live. You know what I mean? And you want to tell people that they can't do that when they come in town. Well, what's the point of being famous and having the money and the fame and success if you can't go do shit like that? You feel what I'm saying?
Kendall Outlaw with the super chat says, when are these rappers going to learn how to move? They are targets. Having a dice game in public arenas wasn't a smart idea. I guess that's in hindsight. I mean, we don't know how many different dice games that they've had before. None of this ever was an issue. And also, go ahead.
Mike, there are infamous stories of Tupac pulling up into New York and having dice games with people like on the spot who he didn't know, Mike.
But I mean, even though it happened, is it a good idea?
When you're saying it's a good idea, it's like we always want these rappers to keep it real and to be authentic and true to who they are. And to where they come from, Mike, and to not forget where they come from.
That's the conflict we have. There's a lot of contradictions.
We always ask this of them, and then we tell a nigga, it's like, well, you know you're rich and famous now, so there'll be no more CeeLo. There'll be no more 4, 5, 6 and an Ace Deuce trips for you, nigga.
Well, I mean,
how are we gonna do that? No, for real, I'm asking you, like, how are we gonna juxtapose like that dichotomy right there?
Well, what I was gonna say, it's a lot of different, narratives and things happen. Like if it would have been in their hometown, it's like, oh, rappers always getting killed in their hometown. You can't go back home. When it happens out of town, like, what happened to Phil in Cincinnati with T.I., or when this happens, it's like, oh, well, you got to watch how you move. I mean, again, that was my first thought when I heard the story and, heard, the dice game and this and that. But once you look into it more, they were around nothing but guys that they were comfortable with. You know what I'm saying? So it wasn't like they were out here, having a dice game with some random people on the streets. You know what I mean?
This is what.
So I don't know what else they could have done better other than just not go.
No, here's what people have to understand. Like, if Quavo in a dice game with somebody who you don't know, like, understand that person is probably known in that city that they're in to have the type of money to play a dice game with Quavo. You feel me, Mike? Why people sitting up here acting or behaving foolishly, making it seem like they was around some bumps? They playing the dice game with Quavo. They got some paper, period, point blank, and not no paycheck to paycheck paper. Like, you know what I mean?
They weren't just fans. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Niggas might be playing like 2 G's to 5 G's a roll, Mike. You know what I'm saying? Like on one. You know what I'm saying?
But there is a and I do agree with you, the whole thing that we want our artists to, keep it real and, be down to earth. But you also have to
not keeping it real in terms of being in the streets, like keeping it real to who they are. Like, listen to what I'm about to say.
But hold on, let me finish.
This is the Migos. They like the party, Mike. They're partying. It's the Migos. It's Takeoff and Quavo. This is what they do. This is their element. It's not like they're conscious rappers. Oh, no. These niggas at a bowling alley at a strip club with strippers and boxers and famous people throwing dice. And like, no. That's right in the alley of what they do. They're party guys and party starters.
No, definitely. And what I was going to say is there does have to be a balance there. You know what I'm saying? Like, you do have to understand who you are and understand that, you probably can't do every single thing that you used to do. And I'm sure they don't. Because, again, when you look at this function, this looked like a very exclusive function. But I guess, when you hear it was a dice game, it sounds like it was in the, back corner somewhere.
Now it's treacherous because they were throwing dice. It's like, no, rich niggas.
I couldn't have walked up in there. I mean, let's just be real. It was an invite-only thing, looked like.
I mean, but think about, like, the stigma of it. How about this? This isn't Nas on New York State of Mind talking about, or either on the corner, betting grants with the CeeLo champs. Like, this isn't that. This isn't that. Like, you know what I'm saying? And I
Right.
think people are taking that and making it this, and it's like, oh no, 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 that's a whole scene, that's a whole vibe that they're having, that's a whole mood. The dice game is just one of the things that's going on during the course of the evening. You feel me? Y'all are highlighting that he lost money in the dice game. You know what I'm saying? Like people we used to highlight when Charles Barkley would lose money at a casino, but would never highlight when Michael Jordan lost money there. You feel me?
Or when they both
Like, oh,
won.
Barkley just lost 50 grand at the casino. I was like, yeah, Mike just lost 75 right next to his ass.
Mark Arthur with the super chat says, Coop, I believe that once you get to a certain level of fame, you can't move the same way. You think Jay is going to the projects? Jay-Z was the first person I thought of because I think he's balanced out this life the best of anybody.
No,
He stays approachable by not being approachable at all. Like, you're not going to catch him anyway. But he doesn't ever seem out of touch.
I wouldn't say that, but I think you're talking about like past time, not current time when you're saying that. But I do understand
yeah. I mean, he's 50
the sentiment of what you're saying.
Yeah.
This is what I mean. Well, this is kind of who they are and where their inspiration comes from. This is them in their element. Like, if this was somebody who we're about to talk about in a little bit, like Talib in this environment, I would be like, whoa, hold up. Wait.
I mean, you're right. They get some of the inspiration from their songs from environments like this.
No, that's what I'm saying. This is what they do. This is part of their lifestyle. And so what you're doing is asking grown-ass men to not live their lifestyle because they have money when it's literally how they get paid. Like, that's what I'm having trouble, like, not understanding with people, like, blaming the environment and even the connotation of gangster rap coming into this. It's like, those aren't gangster rappers. Those are party starters. Right. Like, those are the guys that get the party started for you. And what were they probably doing down there in Houston? Partying. Like, they weren't down there on some gangster shit. What, Quavo and Takeoff was down there to handle some beef shit, Mike? They was down there to pull the blickies out?
Yeah. Get on some chicks,
Right. They was down there. Right. It's Houston, Mike. Yeah. You been to Houston? Seen the girls in Houston, Mike?
I have.
Dated a chick in Houston once, Mike.
Me too. Mad Max with the super chat says,
what I gotta say is amen.
Yeah. Mad Max says, people are saying when a rapper is gonna learn how to move when it was a private party. Let me know. Let me know that you've been sheltered. R.I.P. Takeoff. My condolences. Yeah, it was a private party. I mean, if you didn't know anybody in there, you couldn't have walked up in there.
I mean, to be honest with you, I haven't even checked like the threads, Mike, to like really see the who and the what was there outside of like the obvious because of who the owner of the bowling alley is. You know what I mean? But
yeah,
like outside of that, it's like I didn't even check because to be honest with you, it's like that's what I'm saying. I don't want to mistake what the point is. The point is there's been a murder.
Yeah, exactly. A senseless.
So murder. I'm gonna stay on point one.
Yeah. And I think the other point is that no one is to blame for this but the shooter.
Right. There's been a murder. I mean, that's what we need to be talking about. It's like everybody's like wondering about this, and this is so crazy. Like, when Kurt Cobain commits suicide, Mike, nobody was like really like heavy on the documentation of like the 9 months prior and all the heroin and like drug abuse that like went on prior to it, and it kind of like he gets mythologized, and it's like we get demonized. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And also, it becomes more of a.
And I say this because I love Kurt Cobain and I love me some Nirvana. It's like, well, he goes on like the one of the greatest drug binges ever, and then commits suicide amidst his depression and bipolar syndrome. And it's like nobody questions like his lifestyle or the way that he's living until he's committed suicide. This man gets murdered, and it's like, oh, well, you're a rapper and a famous rapper. You shouldn't be shooting dice. It's like, what the fuck?
I mean, he wasn't even doing any of that stuff.
I don't even think he was shooting dice, correct?
No, he wasn't doing anything. He wasn't bowling. He wasn't shooting dice. He was just chilling.
Partying, Mike. He's partying. He's Takeoff. Takeoff likes the vibe. He likes to chill. He likes to party.
Yeah, so, but yeah, and I think it's unfortunate that a lot of people are using this as an opportunity to shoehorn in these narratives about, lyrics need to be changed and this and that. I mean, that's a discussion we're going to get into in a second. But I think that content, obviously, it is what it is, but are we expecting everything in hip hop to not reflect society, right? And this is coming from the person that just came down on Jeezy's latest project because it was nothing but the same old drug dealing rap, right? And it didn't show
Correct.
any growth. But I think that
Yes.
if we're expecting all of this genre to sound like just to get by or something, I think that's unreasonable. But even if that did happen, does that stop the violence? You know what I mean? Like, let's not
So
act
this
like
is
people
okay.
weren't
So
getting murdered before any of
and
this
we have
stuff.
to start identifying what we think like is gangster rap, because it's like I tell you what, like doggy style is gangster rap, Mike.
Why?
Like I mean, like for me, it's like because like gangster rap to me is like more of like a feeling and a vibe and an energy than like saying fuck the police like straight out of Compton is. You know what I mean? Like we got to start looking at things that are arbitrary and start labeling things more maybe as an aesthetic and a sound. It's like Let Me Ride is gangster as fuck to me, but it's not like a violent song, Mike. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
Like
I
it
think
doesn't have
that's
to
the
be violent
thing.
to be gangster. You get what I'm
Well,
saying?
see, that's the
And
thing though. Gangster rap, and I'm pretty sure that the term gangster rap came from the media. I doubt that any rapper ever coined that shit, but it has a connotation to it. Just like how mumble rap has a connotation. I feel like Ebro created that, title because none of the people who they put under that title even classify themselves as that. You know what I mean? Let me get to
well,
some of
that's
these super chats real quick. Eric Terrell
well, Mike.
says, I grew up in the 70s and the 80s on Glenwood and Candler Road. We fought
Okay.
every day. Then we played with the guy. Then we played with guys, win or lose. These guys are scared to fight. Yeah, I remember that
Hold
too, man.
on.
I remember
Look here.
fighting, and then what I'm saying, we go back and play ball again.
Hold on, fam. That's what I'm saying. I'm 80s, 90s, Memorial Drive, East Side, Zone 6, same shit, fam. Like same thing around the neighborhood. It's like, no, no, no. We gonna fight these niggas, and if they fuck us up, we gonna have to fight them again tomorrow and try to win. And like, if not, we just gonna live to see another day. End up playing football and basketball in school with these cats. You feel what I'm saying?
But I'm telling y'all what it is. It wasn't on camera. People ain't trying to
Oh,
take
Mike,
these
it was
L's
worse
on
in the
camera.
neighborhood when you got your ass whooped, Mike.
People ain't trying to take these L's on camera, Coop, and have
Man,
that
it was
shit going
worse,
through their
man.
whole
Like,
social
ain't nothing
media.
worse. I don't care. There ain't no camera that's worse than being in the hood and getting your ass whooped and everybody in the neighborhood knowing it. Like, Mike, I got into a fight one time when I was in seventh grade on the bus. This cat named Jerry. I mean, he got me good and he faded me. They're like, yeah, Coop, you snuck a couple shots in. They're like, but he whooped your ass. You know that, right? Like, and that was the whole talk for like 2 weeks. Like, everywhere I stepped.
It would have been worse if it was on camera. Let's
That's
just be
no, that's the
honest.
shit that makes a fighter out of you,
Yeah,
Mike.
yeah, no,
That's what
I
I'm
agree
trying to
with you.
understand.
I'm
That's the
just
shit
telling
that
you
makes
what it
a
is.
man out of you. Like I ain't been whooped like that since. That's why I remember that I got whooped that way.
Jay Short with the super chat says Justin Bieber, John Mayer, or Jack Harlow would walk through these projects and dudes wouldn't lay a finger on them. And we know this. This ain't about the money. That's very interesting.
That's fascinating.
And you're right. I agree with you. I think Jack Harlow could walk anywhere and niggas be like, oh, Jack, what up? I mean, we seen Justin Bieber go to Compton and was playing basketball with niggas. You seen that?
That's crazy that I couldn't go to Compton, but Justin Bieber got to go to
Yeah,
Compton.
Justin Bieber hey, Biebs. He pulled up on him. Dante Smith with the
Very
super chat
problematic.
says Quavo getting into that argument reminds me of Pac fighting at the MGM Grand. Rappers risk a lot when they get into it with these street dudes. Now that I do agree with. I do agree with, even though everybody was familiar. Man, when those egos get involved and you get into the back and forth, it can go left. Mad Max says, when rock stars were overdosing, were people saying, "Oh, rock should change their lyrics," or were they
Right. That's
saying,
what I'm saying.
are they saying this now because it's hip hop or black art? It's true. These are factual things. I'm loving the commentary you guys are giving. Marquez Davis says, Tupac. I remember on, yeah, I'm sorry. I remember on CNN when he got shot the first time. They called him a gangster rapper. And some
Worse.
white dude saying that he always acts like that. Shaking my head. Well, we
He
already know.
always acts like that.
Let's just keep it real. We already know that, you know, being a black male specifically, but if you're black in America, they're gonna heighten the criminality in anything that happens. Everybody else gets the benefit of the doubt, and we're talking about the media here, and obviously with law enforcement as well. But when it's covered in the media, there's a whole different tone, there's a whole different perspective, and you could be straight laced all your life. We just saw this with Will Smith earlier this year. Will Smith went out there and was the perfect dude for 30 plus years. He goes out there and defends his wife and slaps a man that he knows now that was talking shit about his wife on national TV, and everybody acts like he is the most violent man in the world. It's wild. The coverage was crazy. And then on the other end, you know, and again, I hate to, you guys know what it is. You got an actor, white actor, who go out there and shoot and kill somebody, and he doesn't even get portrayed in this manner.
Mm.
Kendall Outlaw with the super chat says there was violence when DJ Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince and Kid and Play were popular. The music still could be better though. Yeah, I mean Scott LaRock was murdered in the streets on some BS. It happened.
Big L was murdered in the streets on some BS.
Who's that?
Big L.
Yeah. A mistaken identity. Same thing with Freaky Ty.
But that's the thing. That's what people don't understand. Is it's like, well, some things come with the territory, and so don't ask these rappers to keep it real with you. Then you feel what I'm saying?
I think the thing I was seeing a lot, you know, and I know it's a lot of public situations with rappers. Some more high profile than others. I think we just have in this era just more rappers than ever because, you know, you can be a notable rapper without actually having a major deal. Where back then you kind of had to have a major deal. But
I just think it's an industry now, Mike.
No,
it wasn't
no,
an industry before.
But what I was gonna say is, I keep seeing people from previous eras acting like it wasn't like that in their era too. You know what I mean? Like we've seen the older generation seem to forget what era they come from and what was going on when they were around. Even the you didn't see the Supreme Team documentary.
Yeah, I did.
You did? Okay. You remember the rapper the rapper that was murdered that Nas was cool with? I forgot his name.
E Moneybags.
E Moneybags, there it is. We don't say his name because, you know what I'm saying, like he wasn't like a popular rapper of that day or in that era and wasn't major, and I don't know any of his music. But if that was today, he would be added to the chart. You know what I'm saying? Like,
no, and I get that, but it's like, and this is what I mean though, like,
and I'm sure there were a lot of E Money situations in that era.
Like, so Nas used to run with E Moneybags. Like E Moneybags was more of a like Nas is the dude that got like a lot of those street dudes converted into rapping. You feel what I'm saying?
Right.
And that's where the streets and hip hop do go hand in hand. Like think about a Nas and these dudes who were street dudes that have all come back and said, it's like, well, you know, he's the one that got me to rapping. And he kind of got it from Tragedy. You know what I'm saying? And G-Rap, who guess what, Mike, were what? They were street dudes. Nas got his rapping shit from street dudes, G-Rap and Tragedy. And so what did he do? He put street dudes on because guess who put him on?
Right.
Right. So, like, stop acting like that this doesn't exist. Mike, Q-Tip.
Yeah.
Q-Tip a Queens nigga. How many Queens niggas Q-Tip done put on and show him love to? He showed Havoc how to program drums on the Infamous.
It's Prodigy's birthday, by the way, too. 36 Chambers says, waiting for someone to jump on the band rap or drill music train for this. The media will use this tragedy to spin the agenda when Takeoff's family is hurting. And that's unfortunate. You're right. I mean, New York City, and we covered this before, was talking about all this band drill music. And I think they're trying to make drill music the new gangster rap, quote unquote. Even though I still don't know what a gangster rapper is, to be perfectly honest with you. And we're going to get to that in a second, because Talib called out a few people and labeled them gangster rap, and I was even more confused. LP with the super chat says, Making negative music is playing to the lowest of human instinct. It's why we're attracted to drama, horror, and violent entertainment. We sacrifice morals for profit and a good time in the 90s. I think you're right. And you're right. I mean, that's why we got reality television as well. Jay Short with the super chat says, "Don't tell me about rap lyrics when I just went to a bookstore and seen a full display of Stephen King books. He's worth 400 million selling violence." Eric Terrell says it's called Life in the Fast Lane. It's been like that since the cowboy days. It's a lot of people that don't make it there. A story. I'm sorry, don't make it there. A story people tell is sad but true. The story that people tell is sad but true. And one more super chat before you go, Coop. Didn't Kid Hood also get gunned down? CJ the Kid said. I'm not familiar with Kid Hood. What were we gonna say, Coop?
I wanted to say to the Stephen King thing, imagine a black author given the creative license to write something like The Shining and then have it adapted for a movie, and then having an actor the caliber of Jack Nicholson being able to take on the lead role in his prime to help you sell the movie.
Well, they would
Like,
tell you
imagine those
that
things.
they would tell you that black people don't want to read that stuff.
Right.
Now, it doesn't matter that you're
I find The Shining to be a brilliant piece of work, just from a literary and from a film perspective. It's one of the few great book to movie transitions, even though the book is still better.
Man with the super chat says, "R.I.P. Salute Bandana P. Another great gone too soon, definitely." What I was gonna say though, I think a positive, or the positives that I do want to possibly take from this tragedy, hopefully, Offset and Quavo can come together again, and whatever pettiness was going on can be pushed to the side and still be. I mean, I would love to hear them make music together again, but if that's not the thing, be amicable and support each other in their individual ventures. Prayers out to them, definitely. I can't imagine what Quavo's going through right now. Offset as well, but Quavo was there, and they just made an album together. That's his nephew, and I'm sure in his mind, because I would be feeling the same way. I'm sure in his mind be like, look, man, if I would have just let this go or whatever, this would have never happened to him, And he got to live with that. And I can't imagine how that feels.
Right. So, and this is what I mean. So there's a couple things. One, I hope that they get back together as friends because, even though things were strained and tenuous and strenuous, they're both hurting extremely today, man.
Mm-hmm.
And so I hope they can soften each other and each other's families a little bit.
They need each other right now. Let's just call it what it is. Like, they need each other right now.
I don't think that's fair pressure to put on them, but I would really, think for the sake of them on a personal, emotional, psychological level, reach out to each other, the families reconvene and get back together.
Right.
Again, even if albeit for a moment in time to help with the healing process of all this, because it's obviously sudden thing. I immediately think about something, Mike, like this too, the way it's getting publicized so fast, so soon. It's like, I wish we publicized like West Side Gun's art gallery the way we publicized this dice game. You feel me? See how they try to make it seem like it's just because in a dice game, but when a reformed drug dealer and reformed felon who's done a prison stint, like a real prison stint, gets to the point that he delves his music aspirations into the art world, and it doesn't get covered with this sort of a tenacity or ferocity, now does it?
Unfortunately, the masses, I would say, don't pay attention to positive news as much as they pay attention to negative news. I mean, I've seen that, firsthand, just being a admin on a huge social media platform. When you post something positive, you get a couple things here and there. Post some bullshit, it flies. And that's why you see the news, constructed in the way that you see it. I remember back in the day, you used to watch the news, they would have uplifting segments and segments with good news or balance it out. And they know people, hate to say it, people want to see the bad shit. And, but it's our job to make sure that, we find a way to shine a light on those things as well, because I don't want to use that as a cop out and and a crutch to say it's all on the people. It's on the platforms, and if people aren't taken to it immediately, just keep going and keep pushing, and eventually people will take on to the positives. But again, that's why I kind of want to harp on some of the possible positives out of this. And I didn't say they need each other in a sense where to put pressure on that, but what I'm saying is I don't think that for them to specifically, I don't think there could be anything to happen that could show them how petty whatever they're mad at each other about is than this. You know what I'm saying? There's nothing else that could have happened to show those two individuals how petty whatever they're mad about with one another is than this situation.
I'm going to tell you what, the situations made me even think about a few things, just on a personal level. Because this is one of those moments. It really is tragic. Like it's only 28, Mike.
Yeah.
Like Mike, if I would have died at 28, my daughter would be 3. That was the year that I got married later that year. You feel me?
Yeah.
Like, think about it. A lot of my life that I've known was just starting right then.
Right.
Like, think about like being robbed of all of that time and that opportunity. It's really tragic. It's made me think about a few things. And this is what I mean, is it's like, no, like even the cats, like, and it's not even a lack of love thing. Most of it is just everybody's busy and doing their thing. I need to reach out to some people that I just haven't heard from a while and just say like, hey, I fucking love you, fam. Like what's up? Let's get up soon, have some drinks, have some lunch, parlay for a second. How's your lady doing? How's the wife doing? Woo, 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 woo. Just because it's like, this is one of those moments where you realize it's like, oh man, like I'm busy over here working, trying to build out my consulting business, Mike. Of course, we got what we got going with according to hip hop. You know what I'm saying? And it's like grind, 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 grind. I got a kid, grind, 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 grind. And it's like, oh no, 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 no. Like,
yeah,
when shit like this happened, it made me reevaluate things. So I can't imagine what they're doing inside of that camp.
Yeah.
It made me, Mike, it's making me even reevaluate the way that I feel about Talib and Lupe, because I'm going to tell you something I realized about all this happening. I've been letting the fact that they're rappers get to me. Like, I know that I'm the better man and I need to start behaving like it.
Well, when things like this happen, it makes everything else seem so small. You know what I mean? And whether it's something that you're prepared for or whether it's, untimely and just tragic like this, like, I don't want to say untimely, total just unnecessary. You know what I'm saying? Miss LB with the super chat says, "Hey A2HH and the chat, I'm late. Just wanted to support." What up, Miss LB? Appreciate
What
that.
up?
Good looking
Appreciate
out.
the love.
LP with the super chat says, "Rap spread the issue. Rap spreads the issue going on in the hood to places where it didn't exist. They adapted it. They adopted it. It's just, it's disingenuous to think that it didn't spread negativity." Yeah, I get it. That's the thing. With all the positive things that hip hop has done, and we're not even talking about from an economic level and the jobs that it's created for people who might not have, even been able to have a place in this economy. Just the message alone, I think that there's a lot more positive that hip hop has spread than negative. Now, I could be wrong, but with any extreme positives, there are going to be some negatives. It is what it is, and that's in anything. Miss LB
They're always
with the
going to
super
highlight
chat.
what you do wrong. It just seems like the way that our wrongs get highlighted, it just feels different. The tones are different. It's a painting, Mike. You're creating a portrait, and it's like the brushes and the strokes are just different when it's us.
Well, you lived through the whole Tupac thing, so did I. They harped on his negative when he was here. And you know what I'm saying? Like, a lot of the stuff that we see from him now, as far as the positivity, and those are the things that he really did do in his life, those weren't publicized like that. The negative gets
What's
highlighted.
crazy is that a lot of his run-ins with the law, he really was being done unjustly by the law, and he was speaking out of in the same way in the former manner that his Black Panthers and civil rights forefathers would have. And that's what's crazy even about it when he gets typecast as this figure. And that's why I keep on saying everybody keeps trying to make it seem like there was some long reign of some death row Tupac. It was a year.
It wasn't even a year, was it? It was literally like 10 months. I feel like he signed the
What I'm
death
saying,
row,
and so like when people have
yeah,
this
the end of
image of Tupac,
95.
it's like, well, I don't know what Tupac you remember, but it's like I remember a brother who was highly intelligent, conflicted, thoughtful, wonderful at making music and acting, a hit maker, could make street bangers, very insightful, very provocative, unafraid, unabashed, cocky, black, beautiful, bold, gangster rapper.
Honest.
Okay, and you want to call him a
Honest.
gangster rapper. It's like, look, you get what I'm saying? Look at all the things that I just called him. It's like you couldn't call him any of those other things.
I need to know what a gangster rapper is because is a gangster rapper out here invoking the Black Panthers and Huey P. Newton? You know what I mean? Is that and if so, I mean that's fine too. But we don't have actual real descriptions of what this is. It's almost like a generalization has been fed to us, and everybody just picks who they want to put in those
I
boxes.
mean, truthfully, you know how Pac should be looked at? He should be looked at as a poet, Mike. If we're
That's what I think
talking
too.
there, like like at his crux, for me, he is he's our modern day Langston Hughes,
I mean,
or W. E. Du Bois in terms of his ability to convey the range of emotions that take place within the African American diaspora in this hellhole of a racist country.
it's all right. Look, is Nas a gangster rapper? Because I mean, you could say New York State of Mind is a gangster rap song. You could say One Love is a gangster rap song, right?
That's what I'm saying. It's like, what's so gangster about One Love? That to me, like One Love is inner city blues,
Yeah.
like modern day version. It's like, no. That's neighborhood shit. That's what's going on.
Miss LB with a super chat says, "My mom always told me to y'all fire. Always told me to y'all fire, not help, because people love destruction. Excuse me. Hope this statement helps. My mom always told me to y'all fire, not help, because people love destruction. Hope this statement helps." Uh, oh, she said Yale fire. Okay, I figured it was a typo in there.
Right.
Well, we got another super chat. I do want to. Oh yeah, but yeah, to kind of I guess segue into the next thing, man. Talib put this post out, or it wasn't a post. Talib's just been going back and forth with random fans. He's even been going on random fans on According to Hip Hop's Instagram too. But he put up something I thought was interesting. He said Ye has many sexist, misogynist lyrics and has worked with many gangster rappers who rap about violence and drugs, including but not limited to Pusha T, Jay-Z, Chief Keef, Lil Durk, Cameron, Beanie Siegel, Scarface, Future, Lil Wayne, and many more. He also went on Drink Champs last year and said that he only posed as a backpacker because he really enjoys violent street rap. You're a liar and a hypocrite. So much to unpack there. Marquez
Where did
Davis,
this get,
huh?
where did this get pulled from?
This was from his thread. He was going back and forth with somebody. I guess the person in the initial comment. Actually, you
Okay,
know
so
what?
this
This
is
was
from when he
his.
pulled up in our thread. Is
No,
what you're
no.
saying.
This was actually a post where he posted about Takeoff's passing and said rest in peace. And someone got in his comments and said, this is what Kanye was addressing, the cowardice nature of many people in the industry to not speak up to the real injustices being perpetuated via media owned by those who are not amongst us. The killing of black men and the sexual exploitation and denigration of black women, instead of refining Kanye's language and joining him in the cause that most are afraid to join, instead, many have succumbed to annihilate him. Everyone not perfect, but we can find a mutual ground. And so that was, one of his responses to that. And I thought that was a decent comment. The person was saying, look, obviously his language needs help, but overall, this is what he's talking about. And instead of Talib being like, you know what, he could work on that. I don't like that he said this, this, and this, but we can get on the same page with that. He chose this direction to go. And then he
I'm gonna
kept calling people the N word that has a Z in
I'm gonna
it.
so funny. I'm gonna try to start off with some positives. First of all, after listening to Westside Gunn's Hitler's Where Hermes 10, I can say that Peppers is the best song on their Not Science class, and that Talib has the best verse on that song. And although I don't think it's a verse of the year contender, because when I mean verse of the year contender, I mean one of the 5 to 7 best verses this year. I think it is maybe top 20-ish, and I think it's just as good as anything that he spit on No Fear of Time. And maybe even a little bit more infectious in terms of how well he sounded over that beat. So let's start off with the positives by saying that. And No Fear of Time is still going to be very highly ranked on our albums list at the end of the year, because it is a great piece of work, even though it's not a classic and not even as highly rated as we had it rated prior. With all of that being said, Mike, I really just wish he would stop. And this is what I mean when I say I'm going to try to like handle things better, and be the bigger and better man about how I talk about matters like these. He has to understand that he is doing this with a consistency that is creating an annoyance for people who want to love him.
Yeah.
It's not like this backlash is coming from a faction of people who want to be opposed to him, because I'm not one of those people either. I just don't care for how he is handling things. And I really wish somebody close to him would tell him that, he's disintegrating a lot of the things that he's done as a high caliber MC for the most part of his career. He's definitely always been like Mike at worst. I would think even if you don't like Talib, you would say he was a B- MC.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Even if you didn't like him, I think you would say that. So he may not be.
He's put in the work too, and he has the projects. He has, he has songs like The Blast. He has Get By. He got
so he's
Move
not
Something.
somebody. He's not somebody whose talent mystifies you like a Jay Electronica. He's definitely not in the Jay or Nas or Big or Pop category, and he's not even exciting like somebody who's around right now like a Stove. But he has created a nice career, a nice lane for himself. And really what he is doing with this behavior is destroying a lot of the goodwill that his music did. And I don't think he understands that part about it. And I just really want him to just stop and breathe for a minute and just like check himself about some of these matter and start asking himself like this question. Do you want to win the battles or do you want to win the war? Because the man that tries to win every battle usually wears himself out and wears his army thin, so that when the big battles come and it's time to win the war, where your troops are worn out on your message and they're not willing to fight, and you get thrashed when it matters most.
Oh, that's deep. Let me get to this super chat, and I want to say something on top of that. Marquez Davis says, correction, Mike. They used gangster rap for both Tupac and Biggie when they were shot. Yeah, they did. I remember that. I never understood it either. Like, what the hell does that even mean? It's a media created term, and I'm going to get into that in a second. Jay Short with the super chat says, Talib is a hypocrite. After his second album, he was complaining about being labeled a conscious rapper. He even called his album Prisoner of Consciousness. I do remember that. Wow. Fans rejected it, and he's been mad ever since. Now he wants to be MLK again. Jadarian with the super chat says, we can't forget that street cats were an important part in the radical organizations like the Black Panther Party, of course. Let's see. Let me get to these other super chats. I think we might be good. All right. That's what I want to say, though. Imagine, imagine that you bought with your own money. Ain't talking about streams. You bought 9 Talib albums, Black Star album. Whenever he's in your town, you go to his shows, and you just disagree with him on something on social media, and you as a fan just put in whatever you put in and weren't disrespectful or anything. And this guy calls you an asshole or whatever he wants to call you, an N word with a Z in it, or he calls you an idiot, and it's like, really? You know what I mean? Like, he doesn't know or care, I would say. He doesn't care that the people that he's responding to so violently, really, could be one of his supporters and supported him for the past 20 years. And it's like you said, is it that important to be right on an individual topic? Like, I just don't understand either, like, how he has the time to do this. Like,
I mean, not being funny. This type of this is the art of war, Mike, and this is what I mean for the stuff that you're. And this is what I mean. I'm referencing this to him. I feel like the right way. Do you want to win the battles or do you want to win the war? Because I'm going to tell you how history goes in this nation. See, the Confederacy was concerned with winning every single battle, Mike, because they were so worried about championing their cause. You feel me?
mm-hmm.
While they're trying to win every battle, the Union is strategizing a way to strategically place themselves in certain areas to strike at certain points to devastate them. Right. So while one side is literally concerned with winning every battle and wearing their troops thin in the process, the other team is strategizing about how to dilapidate the troops at certain points. But here's the reality of the matter. They dilapidated themselves with their behavior and their war tactics.
Yeah.
So it made the job that much easier. The reason that the Union was able to rush the Confederacy is because the Confederacy had already worn itself out some, on top of the Union having a superior strategy. And so if he wants to win the war, in the art of war, how this goes, in order to defeat your enemy, you must first learn to do what your enemy does, feel what your enemy feels, and think what your enemy thinks. You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Now, does your enemy behave and think this way? For all this stuff that he's kicking, does your enemy think and behave this way? Because I'm telling you that they don't, and they're looking at you and they're laughing.
Yeah.
And as as your brother, I'm gonna stop talking shit about you and try to help you and tell you to stop and think and strategize and stop being concerned with every single battle.
Miss LB with the super chat says it's a difference between telling street stories for awareness, but his this new generation is about killing ops and gang wars and no alternative. The elders at least put wisdom in to make you think. Jay Short says Talib is mad that he didn't turn out to be a cop. To piggyback on what Miss LB said, I was kind of thrown by this part of what he had to say. He included Jay-Z, Scarface, and Lil Wayne into the gangster rap category. Now, am I reading that wrong? He said many gangster rappers who rap about violence and drugs, including but not limited to Pusha T, Jay-Z, Chief Keef, Lil Durk, Cameron, Beanie Siegel, Scarface, Future, Lil Wayne, and many, many more. Now, I've never considered Jay-Z to be a gangster rapper myself. I haven't. And again, and that's why I ask, like, if Jay is a gangster rapper, does that make Nas a gangster rapper? Because I'm thinking kind of like what Miss LB said. He kind of tells street tales, and he gives you the beginning, middle, and end. Nas does that too. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't feel like, you know what I mean? Like, am I wrong here? And I definitely never felt like Lil Wayne was a gangster rapper.
Okay, so this is what I mean.
What's a gangster rapper? I need help.
I've never classified Jay-Z as a gangster rapper either, and here's why. His writing prose, Mike, or the shit that he doesn't write, the prose of it, Mike, the formulation of it, the intent, and the thought process behind it, it is more Mike, it's more Toni Morrison than Easy E. I don't know how else to say it. Like, it's not gangsta. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not. Like, Jay is extremely, in terms of usage, as literary devices, as highly skilled as any MC that we've had in terms of his usage of literary devices. And if we were to transition him into the writing sphere as just like the writer of a book, he would be one of our foremost writers in the vein of a W.E.B., um, a Langston Hughes, and Alex Haley, a Toni Morrison, and Alex Haley. Like he would be there as a writer, and so it's like, and I'm saying this to say this respectfully, he wouldn't be classified with Donald Goins.
I think that for me, and maybe I'm wrong, I could be right or wrong, because I see some people in the chat agree with
Or
some
Sister
of.
Soldier. He wouldn't be classified with Sister Soldier or Donald Goins. You feel me?
Right, right, right.
Mm-hmm.
Because some people in the chat agree with this sentiment, but I think that the versatility of somebody like a Scarface, Jay Z, and Wayne keeps me from them in that kind of category. Because
That's
I
what I'm
mean,
saying.
because I feel like with gangster rap, like you said, if you're a gangster rapper or whatever, I'm expecting that on your records, like pretty much every record. You're not gonna have a give it to me. You don't have those kind of, you know what I'm saying? And I
And that's
think
the
that when
problem.
Jay does get into his quote unquote, like what's his most gangster song then? If we're gonna play that game, because I know somebody said in the chat American Gangster or whatever, that was after a movie. You know what I'm saying?
I think,
Like,
truthfully,
yeah, the Evils.
I was about to say it's either the evils or friend or foe, Mike, because it's really like the most realistically sinister that you'll see him be. Like that shit on friend or foe, you draw better be Picasso. You know the best, because if this is not so, no, I can see him talking shit like that on the street. Like he talks shit like that. I can see him being cool. Like friend or foe for me is probably it because I can see him being cool like that in that moment, like having a nigga cornered and being like you really didn't think that you was gonna come up on my corners and do this shit, nigga. Like I know you didn't think that that shit was gonna happen. Let me tell you how we gonna run this, because I don't like no murder on my block, and I don't like this shit being. No, I can totally see him doing that. So to me, that's the evil shit, because it's like, oh no, he did that.
Jay has a huge catalog, man, and I feel like, and I'm just ballparking it here. I feel like maybe 15% of his catalog is on some gangster shit. You know what I'm saying?
Not even. That's what I mean
I
because
don't
these.
even know if
That's
it's
what I.
that. I'm being generous there.
Because a lot of it is hustlers' tales, Mike. It's like
Exactly.
not all these tales end in a shootout, or
You
people don't die in these tales. Like
right.
that's what
You
I'm
don't
saying.
know
He's
it's
a
not a
hustler,
gangster rap song. Like, you know what I'm saying?
right?
What are you talking about?
Like when he's singing 3 shots close range, never touch me, divine intervention. That's not a gangster. That's not gangster.
Right.
He's letting you know I'm lucky to be here. He's like somebody shot at me close range 3 times and they didn't hit me. Like thank God. That's not gangster, Mike. That's saying thank God I'm here. He literally says divine intervention.
Yeah. 36 Chambers with the super chat says, Yay on Drink Champ said Lupe was gangster. He said he wouldn't pull up on Lupe and that Lupe has you thinking he's conscious. Is Lupe gangster now? But again, we talking about personal life. You know what I'm saying? Like people say that Loon was out here in the streets doing whatever, whatever. When you listen to Loon's music, it wasn't that. I can't classify. I don't know Lupe, so I can't really
People said that
give
about
you an
Nelly too,
answer.
Mike. That was the
Yeah,
same thing with
exactly.
Nelly. It was like
Exactly.
Nelly was the one that was really in the streets. I was like, perfect.
Exactly. You know what I'm saying? So we can only talk about what we know on record. And on record, nah. LP with the super chat says, speaking on negativity doesn't make you negative. Glorifying negativity does. A gangster rapper, in my opinion, glamorizes it even worse if they don't live it. See, I agree with that. And again, I think that
But what
gangster
say
rap
you about
list is
Doggy Style?
shorter.
Before you go further, what say you about Doggy Style being a gangster rap album? That's what I mean. No, that's what gangster rap sounds like to me. Because it's like
Is it a sound or a message?
it's a sound more to me. That's what I'm saying. Like gin and juice, it's like that sound. Let me ride. The Shiznit. Murder was the case. Like it's that sound, it's that feeling, it's that vibe. It's something around the aura and the persona of the music that puts you in a certain vibe or a mood. Like the Chronic and Doggy Style are gangster rap masterpieces. They're like the Godfather Part 1 and 2.
That sound can't really be duplicated by a lot of people. You know what I mean? And
Correct.
And
It's a very distinct niche. What you have is people that delve into the sound or have a placement within the sound. Like Ice Cube is somebody that has a placement within the sound, but I wouldn't call him a gangster rapper. He got some gangsta ass tendencies sometimes, just like Scarface does.
I disagree with you. I think if you're going to label anybody as the author of mainstream gangster rap, it is Ice Cube. It's
See,
straight
that's
up
what I
because it
mean.
all
See,
starts
no,
with
no, no.
straight out
See,
of Compton, and
he
he's
might
the
be the
author
author
of
of
that.
it, Mike, but when you really look at what his career amasses, you're talking about straight out of Compton.
No, I
More
agree
than
with you.
Ice Cube, the solo rapper.
That's
Because
what I'm saying.
this is what I mean about gangster rap is more of a sound. Like Mike, a bird in hand is a gangster ass song to me. You feel me? That's a gangster ass West Coast classic song. You feel me? Now, is he talking about gang banging and shooting them up and selling drugs on there? It's like, yes, but how is he talking about it, Mike? You see, that's what I'm saying. It
He's
don't have
not
to be negative
glorifying
for
it
it to be gangster.
Like LP said. When you're glorifying it, I can put you in that category, and that's why I
So
feel
gin and
like,
juice would be gangster rap to you
honestly,
then.
man, that's why I feel like it was. I was kind of insulted when he threw Scarface's name in there because
Very
Scarface
insulting.
doesn't glorify gangster life, man. He's giving you the pros, cons. Actually,
Give me the hard truth,
he's giving you, yeah, the cause and effect.
the
You know
hard
what I
truth.
mean? The harsh truth. He's never glorified this shit. All the way down to, Mom playing tricks on me his ghetto boy days. The only time I guess you could possibly say that is certain points on Mr. Scarface's back, maybe. But everything else, and especially during the time period that Kanye worked with him, he wasn't glorifying this street shit. And I think that's a real insult for Talib to put Scarface in that category. I am prolific with the super chat says Mike is right about Talib. Every thought doesn't need to be vocalized, especially if you can potentially cause issues with your core fan base. It's just about being a decent person. Like many people in this chat, and we love the fact that you guys support the show and check us out every Wednesday, Friday, and some people on Monday. But when we don't agree, I don't just call you stupid, or you know what I'm saying? Like it's a way to handle things. It's weird when you can't disagree on a level where you're able to actually communicate and get somewhere with it. Because he'll start out the gate just insulting people. And it's like, dude, you're an artist. And artists need fan support. Let's just keep it real. You're an artist and a podcaster. All of those things need fan support. And to isolate the people who are actually out here supporting you and who think enough to follow you on social media and engage in your topics, it's not a good look.
You want to know what though? I truly believe, and here's the best way that I can just kind of like wrap this up on my end at least, and you can maybe piggyback off of it if you find it to be viable. These breaking downs of like, different genres of rap, for me, they only exist for the people who don't exist at the top. And listen to what I'm saying when I say that. It's a way for them to exist in their own sphere and in their own lane and get ranked high a certain way. When I'm saying Ice Cube isn't a gangster rapper and Scarface isn't a gangster rapper to me, it's because when I listen to the amass of the material that they've done, the diversity and the agility that they have exuded, there's nothing about that should be coined to just one thing.
Right.
They are one of the all-time greatest MCs, respectively, between the two of them. So when you're dealing with when people talk about Kobe or LeBron or King or Bird or Magic or Mike or now KD and Steph, people talk about where they rank, like in their position, but they only talk about that because they're already an all-time great. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like these categories only exist to try to give people significance who aren't as high up on the food chain. And that's why I don't like calling Ice Cube a gangster rapper, because you calling Ice Cube and Scarface a gangster rapper
They're more than
is
that.
actually taking away from their all-time greatness.
I mean, again, Jay-Z, man. Like to put Jay-Z in that
None
catalog,
of these guys are
in
gangster
that
rappers. Raekwon
category.
and Ghostface, not gangster rappers to me. You feel
You
what
know,
I'm saying?
for
They're
him
just
to put
all-time great rappers.
right, for him to put Jay-Z and for most people is a top 3 MC all time, period. For him to put Jay-Z in this conversation, I think is insulting. And like I said, maybe 10 to 15% of Jay-Z's whole catalog is on some gangster shit. Over the past 20 years, I can't tell you the last gangster song that Jay made. Probably Threats or something, and that was a joke. You know what I mean? Like,
This is what I mean. These categories really only exist to give credence to the people who didn't have the agility to get ranked up as high on the bar.
You're talking about the
Ice Cube
conscious
as a gangster
MCs.
rapper because Ice Cube can make any damn song he wants to make it sound good. He's one of our all-time greatest rappers. Now, that's what I'm saying. He can delve into the foray of making a gangster rap song. He may even be one of the authors of a gangster rap sound. But if you think that encompasses who that man is as an MC, you haven't been listening or paying attention to the totality of his catalog and what he has to say. You're pigeonholing him by calling him a gangster rapper.
Well, see, this will be my question, though, to Talib. What prevents Ice Cube, Scarface, Tupac, or Nas from being a conscious MC?
Tupac wrote Dear Mama and Brenda's Got a Baby.
Why are they not conscious rappers?
Keep your head up. It doesn't get more conscious. That's more conscious than anything Talib's ever done.
36 Chambers with a super chat says, hustling drugs, dealing, and thugged out rhetoric are all thrown in gangster rap. It's an umbrella term for anything in hip hop that is not conscious. But again, so how do you feel about Tupac then? Because that just blows up any argument that anybody would say. You want to say Tupac's more gangster rap than conscious? Because that's not a fact.
It's not true.
Yeah.
No, you don't have enough songs to show that.
You don't.
You get what I'm saying? You don't have enough gangsta-ass songs from Tupac to say that. You have an album and a half worth of material.
Yeah. Eric Terrell with the super chat says, the first Ghetto Boys album was gangsta and horror. Yes. Yeah, so if you're not going to put Tupac, Nas, say Ice Cube in these conscious rapper categories, they need to blow the whole category up, man. And I'm with blowing up this whole gangster rap category too, because I don't even know what it means, to be honest with you.
I don't like the whole conscious rap category thing either, because it's almost like, you want to know what it is? It's almost like saying like, well, these niggas can't talk about the street shit as good as these other dudes, so we're going to call them conscious.
Right. Because again, you tell me what's the difference between New York State of Mind and any other conscious rap song you ever heard. Why is New York State of Mind not a conscious rap record? Because y'all don't want to compete with Nas.
No, not because you don't want to, because you can't. And so you have to create a category to compete. You feel what I'm saying?
Kendall Outlaw said Bone Thugs and Harmony and NWA were gangster rappers. When Bone switched it up, sales were low. But what makes what Bone does gangster though? I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's such a blanket term, and we don't have a real definition for it. It seems, like I said, it's a media created term by people who don't even listen to hip hop. That's why we can't really categorize it like that.
Right.
I mean, but yeah.
The G and G rap does not stand for gangster.
Well, I also want to address the thing where he was talking about Ye and his misogyny in his music. Where is the misogyny in Kanye West's music? I mean, maybe the people can help me out.
This is why I want him to stop, because here's where he's losing. Labeling Jay-Z and Scarface gangster rappers is not helping you. This continued
and Lil Wayne too.
Lil Wayne, this continued tirade and diatribe against Kanye, it's not helping your cause. You have to understand that you're not doing things that's helping you. Now, you might be free and speaking your mind and doing what you want, and you're entitled to do that. I'm going to quibble again over and over. Are you interested in winning battles or winning wars? Because I'm a grown-ass man who likes to win the war. And so what I'll do sometimes is step back and live to fight another day the right way, instead of wearing myself out picking a lot of little battles that are maybe going to take the energy and the strength necessary out of me when you need a real boss to fight.
Our Legacy with the super chat says, this murder is more than an isolated event. These murders are more than a trend. It is becoming a part of our culture. It is the self-hate that breeds into us. I mean, who is us? I think that there's criminality.
Lil Wayne's first single off the Carter 1 is Go DJ. The first single off the Carter 2 is Fireman. The first single off the Carter 3 is Lollipop. Gangster rapper, what?
Right. Well, to that whole thing with us and this and that, I mean, there's violence everywhere. And if you look at the data, you know, it probably wouldn't show what you think it shows. Now, I will say that black culture, and we've spoken on this on the show before, we kind of just lead culture in America and possibly the world in general. So when things happen in black culture, yes, they get magnified to a degree that it doesn't in other cultures. I get that. Um, but again, what people need to do all around is just figure out a way to disagree
I
without
got a
going off the
question. Hold
handle
on.
and pulling out the hammer. You know what I mean? That's just what it is. Because
Hold on.
people
Let
are
me
going to
ask you something.
disagree. Let's not sit here and act like we're going to end all fights and all disagreements and everybody's just going to, you know what I'm saying, live happily ever after. People are going to disagree. But you got to
Yes.
understand how to disagree and how to get through, an argument. That's it.
Hold on. Mike, you and I, not on, like, first of all, for 10 years on social media and for 2.5 years of doing the show, have got up here and argued and disagreed vehemently tons of times.
Yeah.
And we have changed each other's mind tons of times. And we always come back to the same place and space of sometimes being able to agree or disagree, or being like, hey, hold on, you got me. You get what I'm saying? But you want to know why that happens? There's respect, love, and trust there. And that's what's missing from these situations that people are talking about. The rapper shouldn't be in. See, what you're talking about isn't the environment. You're talking about respect, trust, and love. Because if respect and trust and love was in that room, Takeoff would still be here. It's not about the environment. It's about the respect. It's about the trust. It's about the love. Let's not mistake this shit. It's about the murder. You feel what I'm saying?
You're right.
We got to stop making it. We got to stop making, oh, it's the environment that these rappers in. No, it's the lack of trust and respect and love is why he's not here. Because if the trust and the respect and the love was where the fuck it was supposed to be, he would be here today. Period.
And, I don't know if y'all can tell, but it's a tough show to do and even talk about, man, because such a sad situation. Eric Terrell says, what Talib called Curtis Mayfield gangster superfly. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like how easily we forget.
Is Pour Out a Little Liquor a gangster rap song to y'all?
Well, I mean, somebody's quoting New York State of Mind right now. There's like, pick my Mac up. Toe Brothers back up. The Mac spit.
That was it.
Yeah.
I made them backflip.
Is that gangster rap?
Scream, my arm shit couldn't look. Gave another squeeze. Heard it click. Yo, my shit is stuck.
Is that gangster rap? I mean, if you put the words on the paper, that's gangster rap, right? If you read that off the paper, you don't know who it is. That would be quote unquote gangster rap, right?
Hold on. If Eazy-E says those bars, it's the hardest shit ever.
Right, it's gangster rap then if Eazy-E says it, and if it's
Eazy-E
over
says
like
it's
some
that's what I mean. You
808s.
can't. That's not right.
Now, you know what? I'm gonna say this right here and right now, man. Ain't no gangster rap. And until
That's
we
what
can
I mean.
actually
Like it's more of a sound to me than it is like a rhetoric. That's what I keep trying to say. It's like it's how it feels. When I hear "Let Me Ride," it's like, oh no. That's what gangster rap sounds like.
You speaking about G-Funk. That's different. Funk is an actual thing. Funk comes from a feeling, and funk comes from instruments.
Hold on. I might be wrong, and you might be right. I might be talking more about that G-Funk sound. That is how I associate and attach my gangster rap from the age demographic that I fall in. I grew up on the Chronic and Doggy Style and Dog Food.
Ain't no such thing as gangster rap until we can find out who actually coined this phrase and why, and who's actually running behind it. At least with trap music, we could track it down to like T.I.'s album or whatever, and other people picked it up and kind of ran with it. I don't know where this gangster rap thing came from. As far as like, you know what I'm saying, somebody speaking it and saying, okay, this is that and this is not. We don't have any rules for it. I think trying to label people in gangster rap, like you said, it's kind of like a good and evil thing where it's like you got conscious rap and gangster rap. These are the good guys, these are the bad guys. Nah.
Well, hold on. Can we have a quick conversation about somebody whose birthday is today?
Mm-hmm.
Who is?
I was going to bring him up too.
Let's bring him up because I think he is the first litmus test of it. Now, what do you hear when you hear P?
I hear dope MC on some hard beats.
Thank you.
And honestly,
okay, so
and like you said,
I keep saying it's like, well, he's a dope ass MC first, Mike. Like the guy on Give Up the Goods. That's a street nigga, but that's a top tier. Yo, Queens get the money, long time, no cash. I'm caught up in the hustle when the guns go blast. The fool retaliated, so I had to think fast. Pulled out my heat first, he pulled out my heat last. Now who the fuck you think is living to this day? I'm trying to tell these young niggas crime don't pay.
Hey, see, but
Look
see
at me
that
and say,
right there.
Queens niggas don't play. Do your thing. I'll do mine, kid. Stay out of my way. It's type hard trying to survive in New York State. Can't stop till I'm eating off a platinum plate. Po come around and try to relocate me, lock me up forever, but they can't deflate me because having cash is highly addictive, especially when you're used to having money to live with. I take a step back, look at my life as a hoe. Look at, ain't no love. It seems the devil done stole my soul. I'm out Philadelphia, selfie, P's not helping you. I'm trying to get this Lexus up, plus a cellular. Yo, Big Noid, what up, cousin? I can't cope with all these crab niggas trying to shorten my rope.
What's gangster about that? He's talking about his life, man. He's
and
talking
he's
about
telling
life.
people to stay away from it and reiterate it.
Exactly.
On the last verse, Mike reiterates again. My whole crew is famous. You tried to bust your gat and keep it real, but you nameless. First of all, slow down. You on the wrong route. Let me put you on the map, show you what it's all about. The street life ain't nothing to play with. No jokes, no games, kid. For years, I've been doing the same shit, just drinking liquors, doing bids, extorting crackheads, and sticking up the stick-up kids.
Those are cautionary tales.
That's what it sounds like to me, Mike. I told you when I heard that shit, it was like, that wasn't get involved in the street. That was like, keep your ass out the street and go to college, nigga.
Goody Mob was like that too. You know what I'm saying? Like when you listen to Soul Food, and I think that's why I highlight Cujo so much on that album, because he sounded like that guy who was out there. I'm not preaching to you. I'm just telling you how it is. And you can hear it in his voice. And he wasn't glorifying anything. He was basically telling you to go the right direction without telling you to go the right direction. See, I think these conscious cats, man, they have this holier than thou mentality. And it's like, dude, from a content perspective, you're no more conscious than a CeeLo or Cujo to me, to be perfectly honest with you. Like, what separates you from Andre and Big Boy?
I'm done even with the holier than thou rhetoric. That's what I mean. It's like I'm truly going to start acting and behaving like the better man in the situation.
I mean, I'm just calling it what it is.
No, Mike. Let's get to the crux of it. Like you said, Mike, these quote unquote conscious rappers, well, they're not as versatile as the quote unquote gangster / drug dealer mafioso rapper. That's the reality of the matter. These niggas can't make Warning and they can't make One More Chance. How about that? That's the problem. You can't make If I Rule the World or The Setup either. You can't make Nigga What, Nigga Who in a week ago. That's what the fuck is really going on. You can't make A Bird in Hand and Straight Outta Compton. You can't make Never Seen a Man Die and Going Down. That's what the motherfucking problem is with these categories. You can't show the flexibility like our true all-time greats do to make those type of songs. All right?
It's reality. I mean, we saw Common try with Universal Mind.
That's reality. You can't even make Bring the Pain and I'll Be There for You. You can't.
36
You don't
Chambers.
know how to flip your style enough, and you're not going to be considered as high. And that's just it at the end of the day.
36.
What is Jadakiss, Mike?
Huh?
What is Jadakiss?
Right. Is Jadakiss a gangster rapper?
He's an MC. We all know he's an MC, Mike.
36 Chambers with the super chat says, Talib has been doing this to illustrate the point that Ye is not the most positive influence given his rhetoric and actions lately. Long-standing beef. You know what? Let's just be perfectly honest here. And, you know, personal shit aside, musically, from a mainstream standpoint, you guys show me a more positive MC on record than Kanye West.
I know it's past visiting hours. Can we please send her these flowers? Stay your heart. You take the anesthesia. It might send the body into the seizure. Yeah.
And you know what? And to be real, man, like, and I know everybody has different belief systems, but he had the balls to make a Jesus Walk in 2004 and make it a single and shoot 3 videos for it. Haven't seen any conscious MCs do anything that ballsy.
I mean, Kanye said tons of positive things on record. Now, what he says for public fodder lately, you know, is debatable and not on a personal level the biggest fan of. but let's not make it seem like this is some sort of incendiary soul who makes these like these mafioso gangsta ass rap records where he's like shooting up half of Chicago like in the record. You know what I mean?
Right. I mean, we can't
He's
erase
actually
20
the guy.
years of
He's actually
service.
got it highlights the problems of it. 30 killings in a
Exactly.
week. 30 killings in a week. Man, the summer too high. You can feel it in your sleep.
Yeah. Murder to excellence. Jay Short with the super chat says, was the way Talib talking to Jaguar right misogynistic? Glass House. There we go.
Ooh. Ooh.
Marquez.
Hold on. Listen, let's not get. I hate when these rappers, Mike. I mean, I was just on a thread where we talking about how rappers behave towards women in relationships. I'm tired of rappers like Talib talking about misogyny when they know how they behave towards women in their personal lives. You feel what I'm saying? It's like, no, mostly, I mean, not being funny, but it's like most of you rappers got like women in like every other city, including the conscious ones. Like the conscious ones too, y'all. It ain't just the niggas that be having ice on and gold in their mouth that got a broad in every city. Like, I want people to understand that.
Well, I'm sure the reason.
Like, not to be funny, how many famous women have you seen Common pop up with over the years, Mike? You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure he catch a new win more than a little bit. Stop playing with me.
And I'm
Stop
sure
lying to these people and acting like you don't swerve.
I'm sure on this misogyny topic, Reese would have something to say as well, because their whole situation went left, and she had some accusations or whatever. Marquez Davis with the super chat says, "Trapped changes, dear mama, keep your head up. Brenda's got a baby, unconditional love, life goes on, teardrops in a casket." I just named about 10 songs Tupac made. No gangster. So right, Coop. Yeah. And you know what? You could put those songs up against some of the conscious MC's greatest 10 songs.
No, hold on.
And he would have way more to spare.
Hold on. There isn't a quote unquote conscious rapper with 10 more heartfelt, bigger, or thought-provoking songs than Tupac. Not Common, not Thought, not Most, none of them. If you take Tupac's 10 most thoughtful songs, put them quote unquote next to these conscious rappers, Mike, he would blow them out the water.
I'll put it.
There's a big difference between Dear Mama and Get By. Get the fuck out of here.
Listen.
Now we talking music. Let's be realistic.
I want to put up a challenge. I want to put up a challenge.
Tears is more impactful than anything Talib ever wrote, Mike. I'm sorry.
Cool. I want to put up a challenge. Let's get 20 of Tupac's socially conscious records and put them up against any of the conscious MCs and their 20 records. You got a 20 pack.
They need to put all their conscious records together. To combat him.
No, I want to know. I want to know if Talib has a 20 pack for Tupac's positive conscious records. That's what I want to know.
We don't even want to. And this is what I'm saying. I'm just be the better man, Mike. No, Mike, that's what I keep saying about being the better man. We're not even going to embarrass Talib like that. You would need to put Talib's best, Most best, Common's best, and Thought's best together in a 20-pack to compete with Tupac fairly.
And that's just leaving out all of his mainstream stuff. That's just his conscious stuff.
Mike, Brenda's Got a Baby, Dear Mama, Streets of Death Row, So Many Tears, Changes, I Wonder If Heaven Got a Ghetto, Keep Your Head Up, I Ain't Mad at You. Feel me, Mike?
Only God could judge me.
Blowout.
Life goes on. Did you say that?
Pour out a little liquor.
Pain. 36 Chambers with the super chat says, how do y'all think hip-hop would be different if we didn't get the gangster rap term? Hadn't it not been coined in the NWA era? Do you feel like the term gangster has hurt the art and limited the integrity? I feel like the whole gangster rap term played a hand in Tupac and Biggie's demise. Yes, I do.
Man, do not get pimp slapped by Tupac's conscious catalog. See, this is what I'm saying. People don't really listen to Strictly for My Niggas and Me Against the World like they should. Like, he's got more conscious and impactful stuff on those two albums, Mike, than most of these guys whose whole careers are built off of it. And they still don't have the level of quality of songs that he has. This is a joke.
Jay Short with the super chat says, "Weed and incense don't win wars." Agreed. Eric Terrell with the super chat says, "Johnny Cash was talking criminal stuff, but country music didn't get a new category. But rap, they treat it different. Yeah, they treat it like it's criminality. You know what I mean? Like you have to find a way to treat the people who've actually made it out of a situation as criminals, even when they're successful. And that's what how I feel the term gangster rap plays. You know what I mean? Like you're a gangster still, even though you're a recording artist.
Man, Pac used to say stuff. Mike, if I wonder if a Heaven Got a Ghetto come out, I just realized how prophetic that man was and how in tune he was with the consciousness of black people. And he said, "And now Bush can't stop the shit. I predicted the shit into apocalypse." He was talking like that on record on his unreleased stuff. Like they not even fucking with Pac on a conscious level.
Yeah, Bush couldn't stop the hit. They weren't saying those kind of things.
Into apocalypse, and I predicted on my first album the Bush problems that we were going to have administratively, and he did because he was connected like that to the community and consciously. Now,
well, he's talking, and I want to clarify for our audience out there that might be younger. He's talking about Bush.
Oh, my block. You just
said
my block off the show soundtrack. That's what I'm saying. Like my block off the show soundtrack is better than everything most of these guys have made, Mike. I don't even know if it would make Tupac's top 10.
Pac was talking about George Sr. T Nitty with the super chat says, "Styles P Gangster. Talib made an album with him." Yep. They had a dope effort together. Styles had a run that year. That was what, 2018? He put out like 3 projects, I think. Or am I no, I'm thinking about when he did the album with Dave East, man. Styles has a career. And see,
great career.
I mean, do we label again, that's what I'm saying. I don't like the gangster rap term because I can't really define it too much, and it's so many. Is gangster rap somebody, like you said, that speaks like Prodigy or Scarface? And if so, how is that different than Nas? Because when you were quoting the give up the goods verse, that shit sound like the New York State of Mind verse to me. You know what I mean? Like we talk about lyrically.
No, Mike, Prodigy's message is actually more uplifting on Give Up the Good than Nas is on New York State of Mind.
Exactly.
Nas' frame on New York State of Mind is more bleak than Prodigy is on Give Up the Good. That's why I'm saying it's like, what is he talking?
Gangster rap is kind of like an image, right? I don't know. I can't pinpoint it. And again, when he threw Lil Wayne in there, I'm like, damn. I mean, like you said, his singles are Lollipop, The Block is Hot,
Go DJ.
Yeah, Go DJ.
Fireman.
Where You At? The Way of Life. Ain't nothing gangster about these records.
7 foot, 8 foot.
Yeah.
Those are Wayne singles.
Milli is a gangster rap song?
Mike, Comfortable with Babyface?
Milli sold 1 million records. That's a gangster rap song, huh?
Got Money with T-Pain?
Right.
Gangster?
Blue Collar Hustle says Common and Nas.
Like a crossover rap star to me, man.
Common and Nas have said they are not gangster rap because gangster rap doesn't exist. It doesn't. Can we say that from here on out?
Well, then hold on. Then there have to be certain people that stop embracing it. Like, let's go. Hold on. Let's go to Hand of the Dead Body off the Diary.
Mm-hmm. I just don't understand how Scarface is not a conscious.
He said David Duke's got a shotgun. So why the fuck you mad that I got one? A tisket, a tasket. The nigga got his ass kicked. You get what I'm saying?
I view that as consciousness.
That's what I mean. So no. The reason that I love Hand of the Dead Body so much is because it's 2 people getting together that are being coined gangster rappers to show you what it is that they really do on the mic, which is to give you an image of what's really going on in their neighborhoods. And here's the reality of the matter is that, well, because the systemic and institutional racism and realism exists, the powers that be do not like it when we speak on these matters in a conscious variety. And thereby at the time, the way the times worked at the time, the way to label our rappers who were speaking this way was to call them gangster because it was too controversial to the norm that was going on. That's what Hand of the Dead Body is talking about. Nigga, don't believe that song, that nigga's wrong. Gangsters don't live that long.
Exactly.
Does that sound like a gangster rap song? That is the hook. Nigga, don't believe that song, that nigga's wrong. Gangsters don't live that long.
Is it possible, Coop?
How more conscious do you want them to be?
Exactly. Is it possible that the real conscious rappers like the Tupacs, the Scarfaces, the Ice Cubes,
Ice Cubes, the
shit, even the
Nas's.
Chuck D's and Nas's, they got labeled something else so people wouldn't actually listen to them on that level and validate their message. It's almost like, with the Black Panther Party and Malcolm X, because they were speaking so aggressively, then you label them as aggressors as opposed to actual revolutionaries and people who were peaceful. Actually, you know what I mean? I feel like with the aggression that Q and Face, Pac, and Chuck came with, they couldn't label them conscious because that would validate their message too much. So they had to put a gangster term behind it to
Correct.
actually, add
Correct.
some level of
Invalidate. No,
negativity
no,
to
no.
it.
It's an invalidation
Yeah.
phraseology. It's like if you call Tupac and Ice Cube and Scarface gangster,
You
it
call them
invalidates the
radical.
socially conscious message and theme of it.
Yeah. So it's like
They're,
these guys are radicals. You don't want to listen to what they're saying.
right. That's
Yeah.
not what's really going on. It's like, oh no, no, no. Yes, it is. That's why I love the diary
They're
so
just
much. It's
angry.
like, no. You can tell from the way Face is talking. It's like, no, he's made it, but the neighborhood don't look good, Mike. And he's
Yeah.
letting you know that the neighborhood don't look. When you rolling through your motherfucking hood, tell me what you see. I
Those
see some
videos,
motherfucking cheese.
in my opinion, man, those Scarface videos back in the day are some of the most underrated rap videos of all time. Like,
Right. Never Seen a Man Die is probably rap's most underrated rap video, Mike.
it's crazy because the way he was able to actually be so descriptive and with his feeling and the way that he was articulating what was going on and how you feel when you hear his music, the video was showing you the same thing. Like, none of those videos ever shorted what he was doing. Even now, I feel you. Like, you look at those videos, you're like, damn.
Damn. Right. I'm like, even going back to Mind Playing Tricks on Me when he's sitting in the room with the candles burning, you're like, oh shit. Like,
Those videos
you're like,
are
oh
amazing.
shit, they really down in South Houston, like shooting the. So, oh shit, like it was different, Mike. Like,
Even Damn It
always,
Feels Good to Be a Gangster and shit. Like, those videos are awesome.
Let Me Roll.
It's like a movie. And of course, a minute to pray, second to die. Blue Collar Hustle with the super chat says, sorry, Com said that he's not a conscious rapper. He's an MC. Nas said on the Colbert Show in 2008 that he's not a gangster rapper. He's a hood reporter. So if Common's not a conscious rapper, I don't think anybody is. I'm just gonna be real.
Actually, you want to know what too? Like Nas actually said that too on the Firm album with Foxy Brown.
Yeah.
Only bad quarters, not a thing shorter than a dime rhyme like a crime scene reporter.
Yeah.
Like he's always been the crime scene reporter rapper. That's what the setup is. That's what Shootouts is. That's what the message is. That's what I Gave You Power is. It's what New York State of Mind is.
Yeah.
It's what Memory Lane is. It's what Represent is. It's what One Love is.
I feel like they've been denouncing this gangster rap category since the beginning. Who embraces it actually? Like, which of the greats actually who are considered to be gangster rappers actually embrace it?
That's funny. I think the only person who actually embraces it is a producer, which would be Dr. Dre.
Yeah. He's not a rapper.
Not actually any of the rappers, no. Because even how about this? What do you think Get Rich or Die Trying is? Is that a gangster rap album to you?
I would say it is if you want to say that there is one. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Would you think the documentary is a gangster rap album?
Yeah. I would say that maybe the game embraces that term. But again,
that's what I'm saying. Most of our gangster rap albums are actually coming out of one spear if we actually start looking at it.
That term is way after their time, though, I feel like.
I mean, no, but it looks like there appears to be like one producer that's attached to this theme, and it's not an artist thing, is what I'm saying.
I mean, other than that, I would say, MC8, and, you know what I mean? But.
Like, this is what I mean. When Prodigy says, I put my lifetime in between these papers lines. I'm the quiet storm nigga who fight rhyme. P, yeah, you heard of them, but I ain't concerned with them. Nigga, I pop more guns than you holding them. Like, how is that any different than the crime scene reporting that Nas does on the setup? My mind set. Son got vexed. I'm vexed, really. He snatched up his Rolex, snatched his big silly. While niggas acting ill, word to Will, he about to feel it. I feel it. We should have been dealt with it. Them niggas sour. They put too much flour in their coat. They got the nerve to wonder why they broke. While we was scheming, niggas was scheming. Seeming ill, beamers, beaming, triple beaming, double and cream, had them fiending to get the fingers on the dosa. I call Sosa. These niggas hit the god, bring the toaster. Meet me in the bridge, I'm about to go loca. Left my rack begging me to stay a stroker. Like, what's more gangster? What Prodigy saying on Quiet Storm or what Nas is saying on the setup? You see how I keep juxtaposing Nas and Prodigy? Because Prodigy is the one that's always looked at as the gangster rapper. Nas is the one that really be saying the more gangster shit, Mike. You know that, right?
Right. No, you're right. That's my whole point.
Nas be the one talking the gangster shit more than Prodigy do. Prodigy doesn't talk gangster shit. Like Nas talks that more, what you would typify as a gangster rhetoric, even more than Prodigy does. Prodigy is the one that's looked at as the hardcore gangster rapper between the two. Nas is the conscious guy.
They never really label Nas as a conscious MC either.
No. I'm saying in juxtaposition to Prodigy, like when they're together, it's like he's the hardcore guy and Nas is the thinker. And it's like, you hearing the shit that Nas be saying? You know, silk shirt in my chest show, what a flirt. Like, who talking gangster, Mike?
Right.
Silk shirt in my chest show, what a flirt. Halle Berry blew a kiss at the Barbra Streisand concert.
Eric Terrell with the super chat says, Coop sound like Pac is the GOAT. He could be.
I mean, you know, him and Biggie's demise, Mike. I mean, Pac is. I mean, I still have Pac and Biggie in my top 5, and they were 25. Like,
that says
like
a lot
I have
about
Pac
their
up high still, Mike. Like I have Pac up high still, like high.
LP says New York State of Mind is a concept song. It's not a glamorization. I think of crime when I'm in a New York state of mind. He's talking about gangster within the mind state he's in.
Yeah, he does talk more gangster than Prodigy. That's what I be trying to tell. Like, you understand? Like, how about this? Since we talking about this dice game shit, you know how many times Nas has talked about dice games on record? Nasir Ben Aludara, Fish Scuala, fistful of dollars in the dice game, God. What happened in shootouts, Mike? What happened on the second verse in shootouts?
Dice game.
The shit broke out over what, Mike?
It was a dice game.
Nas be talking that gangster shit. That's why I'm saying it's like, what's gangster to you? It's like Nas. That's what I mean. It's like I just bought up the 50 grand CeeLo Champs line from New York State of Mind. That's three Nas verses talking about a dice game. When you hear Prodigy talking about shooting dice, Mike.
They find certain people to put them in that box.
Thank you. They find people to put in there. It's not about what you say, it's about who it is.
That's why I'm very surprised that Talib chose to put Jay-Z, Scarface, and Wayne in that gangster rap category. And I feel like that says something about how he views them from a skill standpoint, maybe. Because I feel like, you know, some of the conscious MCs feel like people who make, I would say, gangster rap, since this is what, you know, we're talking about, are at a certain skill level where they're at other skill
That's
level.
What I mean. Like it's about skill and who they want to place in certain boxes. It's like, well, here's the reality of the matter. Nas is so great that you can't put him in that box and say that he's conscious or say that he's gangster.
Well, if he would have done that, that would have stuck out like a sore thumb. Even though Jay stuck out like a sore thumb to me, but somebody could pull out certain records and justify that. But if he would have thrown Nas in that conversation, people were like, whoa. Now, he wasn't that crazy to do that.
But this, hold on. But this is the same. Get down, Mike. I rolled with some Crips down to a Crenshaw funeral. Never seen so many men murdered, and I knew the whole responsible. Nigga still alive in the hospital.
You know what? I would put neither one of them in the category because, again, I don't think the category is even a thing. But if it was a thing, I probably would put Nas in the category before I put Jay in the category.
That's what I'm saying. Nas is the one that really be like talking like some real street talk. Like he's a, like he said, I rhyme like a crime street reporter. So it's like, if you want to say like gangster rap, it's like, well, Nas says more gangster shit than Prodigy does. He does. Because what Prodigy does is give you an emotional feeling about where he's coming from. I rose early morning, spread my wings yawning. Vague memory of last night. Now it's all dawning. Look down and seen dry blood all on my garments. It stained up my guest farmers. Color enormous. What's gangster about that, Mike? He's horrified. He's expressing the horror of how he woke up from a gunfight. There ain't nothing gangster about that. He's horrified. Is you band of mice, thugs of the cowardly type. Ooh, he's talking about the pressure that he's under, Mike.
Great breakdown.
You know my science of life is you man or mice, thugs of the cowardly. Mike, that's philosophy. That's philosophical. You can teach that.
Jadarian with the super chat says, if Pac is conscious, what is Talib? Something else?
he's not on Pac's level of even being conscious. That's why these categories exist, because it's easier to put Pac in the gangster rap category and forget that if there's going to be a conscious rapper, it's probably Pac, and he's the greatest conscious rapper ever. But you want to know what that would do? That would crush all these other guys, so we can't put him in that catalog.
Well, if Common denounces the conscious rapper title and genre, subgenre, I don't think there is one then. Cause I put Common in that category before I put Black Thought in there. Black Thought's a beast.
Thought be talking street shit.
Yeah.
215, dumb shit aside.
Yeah. No, I'm. Black Thought's not. If Common's not in the category,
done, what am I, the god of the microphone? Praise the Lord. Any MC disagree with me? Razors. No, he talking like a street nigga talk, Mike.
Who's left?
Street niggas talk like that. Like you got a problem, come see me with your problems. That's street shit, Mike.
Are we putting KRS in the conscious category? Because he rapped the street shit too.
And that's what I mean. It's like, and here's what I mean about being from the streets. Like, well, all these dudes is from the streets to me. Common from the south side of Chicago. Black Thought from south side of Philly. Right. You know what I'm saying? Nas from Queensbridge. Face from Houston.
36
Jay from
Chambers.
Brooklyn.
Let me get to these
all these
super
niggas
chats.
From the street, Mike.
Yeah.
Everybody that's in rap from the street damn near. It's like not too many people can say it's like, I grew up in a suburb and I'm a big time rapper. It's like, no. That's not something normally gets said. Most of these niggas coming out of the hood.
Well, according to Consequence, Talib's from Park Slope.
It's very problematic. We weren't talking about Talib. We was talking about Black Thought, Nas, Common, Face Mob.
36 Chambers with the super chat says, how do we define drill then? There's some of it out there's some of it out there that actually glamorizes running up on ops and no underlining message. Is that gangster rap? Kids without a message glorifying that life. I think that's a good question. I feel like if they want to carry over this term, gangster rap, and put it on that, fine. But I think that the difference is the drill music term, the people who actually make that music created that title for it. And if they want to categorize themselves as that, and I don't listen to a lot of drill music, just the ones that might, cross over or break through. But I'm sure on some of those efforts, if they got to do a whole album or whatever, they're probably giving you some cautionary tales too, without even knowing it. I mean, because it's only so much you can glorify without actually having something substantial to say and, and actually speaking about the pain of it all. You know what I mean? LP with the super chat says, like Jesus said, have the heart of a dove and the mind of a serpent. That's what Pac, Nas, Face, Cube represent, in my opinion. Conscious but aware and not suckers. Well, what does that leave the conscious rapper?
I think Yassine, who said it best, actually, he's like, I'm not conscious, dog. I'm awake, dog. I'm doing great, dog.
Yeah, Uncle Fred.
So I think that's simply like the best way to put it. So it's like, nah, it's not conscious, and this is why I hate the conscious more than the gangster, and here's why. Because what you're doing when you're calling something conscious is that I feel like that's the white man, and I literally mean it that way as it's intended, like trying to consciously make the intelligent separated from the rest of the diaspora in the culture when you call it conscious. It's like
the house in the field
rap stuff.
Yeah. It's like the house in the field, right?
Right. It's like this is the intelligent rap stuff that the intelligent, artistic, creative hip hop listener listens to. This is the medium of rappers you should listen to. And it's like that nigga can't make How Do You Want It? And
but the thing
America's
is, though,
Most Wanted and No More Pain. I don't want to listen to this nigga to feel like I got to listen to intelligent rap. Pac is very intelligent on Ambitions as a writer. Mike, is Ambitions as a writer against us all? So many battlefield scars while driven in plush cars. His life as a rap star is nothing without war. Was born rough and rugged, addressing the mad public.
My attitude
is fuck it, because motherfuckers love it to be a soldier.
Thing is, man, we listen to all of it.
That's poetically beautiful, Mike. That's a beautiful lead-in. Like if a play was starting with that sort of force on Broadway, we would be like, who is this masterful playwright with these great oral skills coming to the forefront with this power and this emotion?
Right.
Instead, it's like that nigga's gangster. Oh, suck my.
Well, this is the thing too, man. I mean, at the end of the day, we listen to all of it, and no one is sitting there like, "Oh man, nah, that's not conscious enough for me. I ain't listening to that." And I think the most well-rounded artists, they give you, like you said, a "How do you want it," and then you get a "Life Goes On" a couple tracks later. You know what I'm saying? Like you already get that balance from well-rounded hip hop artists. What is DMX? You know what I'm saying? DMX could be talking about robbing you 1 minute and then praying the next minute. You know what
See,
I'm saying?
X never really said he was a gangster rapper. He said, "I'm the
Mm.
hardest nigga out." Like, and he
But
meant
he
that
was
as in, like, I
conscious.
don't think these niggas are tougher than me.
I don't think there's anybody. There's a few artists. I'll say it like this: I don't think there's anybody since Pac emotionally on a mainstream level that touched
X is the
their
closest.
listeners to the level that X touched them. You know what I mean? Like people felt X where he was coming from, and I would say that X had conscious music as well. I mean, is that wrong to say?
See, this is what I mean. When you're labeling it conscious, I think that's even a dangerous thing. It's like, what do you label conscious? To be conscious is to be awake and to have a stream of thought running. And so, like, nobody is as conscious as DMX because he's one of our most honest people, just like there are very few people that are as conscious as Tupac because of how his stream of thought works. You get what I'm saying? Who are you
Right.
labeling conscious? Conscious is the stream of thought and the honesty and the emotion and the passability of it. You know?
We have labeled conscious rappers as the rapidy rap wordy big word
Right. That's what I
MCs.
mean. We try to make it intelligent rap. It's like, oh, you're talking about that artsy, like crafty stuff where it's like you don't hear about anybody being murdered, or you don't hear about any drugs being sold. You don't hear any crack being sold. You don't hear any despair. You know? Well, here's the reality of the matter. Our circumstances here in America come from a place of despair. And hip
And
hop
you
is one
know,
of the
not to cut you
one
off,
of the
but
springboards of it.
I
You
was just
know?
gonna say, Black Star's best song by far, in my opinion, actually takes on some of those themes on Respiration. Like I think that's the most street record they have, and I think it's their best song. Period.
You just heard them on Peppers with West Side Gun.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm saying. I'm tired of hearing them sound better on other people's tracks than they did on that album. It's like, oh, y'all snapping on everybody. It's like, oh, you going in on everybody else's shit? It's like, oh, so you do just rap your ass off because you're a rapper. It doesn't have to be some sort of concentrated artsy. This is what I mean. They're sounding better when they're just getting on some rap shit and not trying to fit into this conscious thing that really doesn't belong to them anyway because it really doesn't exist. It's not real.
It's
It's not
not.
real, Mike.
I think we're uncovering that in today's show. I think gangster rap and
You can
conscious
rap
rap
your
ain't
ass
real.
off and be versatile, or you can't. You want to know what really happens when you start stripping it down? Well, we see how one dimensional you are as a rapper, and that's why some of them embrace it the way they do. And it's like, no, go make homo. All jokes aside, I get on you owe me a lot. I don't even know if these niggas can make you owe me. Maybe I need to stop talking about you owe me like that.
Uncle
Right.
Fran with the super chat says, "Guys, I don't want to divide here, but conscious rap needs gangster rap. Uh, taken against them represents 60% of their subject matter. I just think that they're well-rounded artists and people who are, somewhat one-dimensional." Melvin Wright with the super chat says, "Gangster rap was the label given for the West Coast rap back in the early '90s. Ice-T, NWA, Spice One, and the Ghetto Boys were lanes as well. Scarface just grew up." Exactly, but can you not grow out of gangster rap, right? Like that's the same thing with Ice Cube. Ice Cube grew up. You shouldn't be labeled that forever. And again, you didn't even give yourself this label. There's power in the name, especially when it's power when you give yourself a name and not allow others to name you for themselves. Melvin Wright says, "I want to double down on my comment from last week about Nas' promotion of KD3. Social media is free promotion, and since October 18th, they haven't said anything else about the album. They should have a countdown or something." Now, I can't disagree with that. What is stopping them from actually doing a KD3 countdown, Coop?
I mean, first of all, I mean, it's the second, so they have 9 days. I don't know for certain. I have been speaking with the source still, but it's been on some peace shit. You know what I'm saying? We were actually having a relationship convo literally right before the show started with some other people, just about how the game goes. It's tied to some rappers and some industry shit too. It's all about the music, really, at the end of the day. But this is part of what I keep stressing again, Mike. Why does Nas, after 30 years in this game, and being the author of Illmatic, it was written, I Am, The Lost Tapes, Godson, Stillmatic, Life is Good, Distant Relatives, KD 1, 2, and Magic. Why does that guy need to do anything? Because here's what I'm trying to tell you. It's like, oh no, when the Rolling Stones go on tour, Mike, everybody in their fan base know and jump behind. When you get what I'm saying, that's what I'm talking about, even with the streaming conversation. Now, I feel like we finally got somewhere with the streaming conversation, last week with it, but it's like, it's Nas. Like, what? It's Nas. Like, what is he supposed to do? I'll tell you what I do know.
I got an answer for that.
Hold
go
on,
ahead.
let me finish. It's like, Mike, like Benny got a song with Nas. You know that, right? You know Benny the Butcher got a song with Nas, right?
Okay. Okay.
Did you know that? No, not on KD3. Like, they been did a song together. That ain't never seen the light of day.
Nah, I didn't know.
Yeah, Benny, they got the record. You feel what I'm saying? It's like, oh, no. The people that love Nas can be getting behind Nas and making shit happen. Like, here's what I've been finding out. It's like, oh, no. All these niggas got records with Nas. Why ain't the industry getting behind Nas? It's like, everybody know KD3 coming.
What is the thing? We know the industry, is what it is. And, we see it in the publications and how they write about Nas whenever anything comes out. But this countdown and this promotion isn't for the core fans per se, because the core fans are going to support, like you said with the Rolling Stone thing. It's actually for the masses, you know what I'm saying? And those are the things that you kind of gotta, build up some level of anticipation for. I mean, even political candidates got to go out there and shake hands and kiss babies. I think Obama's out here on the campaign trail right now. Like, you got to go do the work. It is what it is, and let people know what's coming. And I don't think anybody's absolved of that, especially at this point in the game. Because Tom Brady, even though he's Tom Brady, he's the greatest quarterback of all time, he's still got to go out there on Sunday and actually win the games. They're not going to just walk him into the Super Bowl. It is what it is.
So here's what I would tell you to that. We kind of spoke to that some in the sense that it's like, well, when media entities ask him, or the conversations occur between he and his team about, doing the spots and doing the promotional runs that people are talking about, they want to talk about her and they want to talk about him, and they don't want to talk about the music.
No. I don't think that he was talking about that, not to cut you off. I think he was talking about things on, from a social media standpoint, like on Nas's Instagram page or on Hit Boy's Instagram page. They posted those gold bars or whatever, and we hadn't really seen anything since. So with 9 days left.
When did that happen?
Huh?
When did that happen?
That happened last week.
No. What day? Because I feel like that happened on Friday.
I think it was Friday. I think it was last Friday.
Okay, so here we are on Wednesday. So, this is what I mean. Okay,
that's
so
what I'm saying. But a countdown to, for the people who might not have saw that. You know what I mean? It's like with social media, you can't just really post one thing and that's it. I mean, you kind of have to keep it rolling. If you got 9 days left, you got 9 posts. That's it. Like, you know what I'm saying?
No, I've been seeing a little bit of something on my Twitter almost like every day. I don't know how the whole team work, Mike. Like, I'm only talking to one person.
No, I feel you. I'm not asking for your insight. I'm just giving my opinion to answer.
I get what you're saying. So let's play devil's advocate and say that it's like, okay, he needs to do a press run.
I don't think let's leave press out of it. Let's just say things that they can control, because we've already covered the fact that when it comes to press and him, they want to ask about stuff that don't even matter with the music. You know what I mean? Right. Let's just keep it to their social medias, their team, whether it be Mass Appeal, Hit Boy, Nas.
Yeah, all the
What
above.
can they do in these 9 days to get? I mean, because we're gonna jump on, everything that we see anyway. But the people who aren't in their cycle, what can they do on their social medias to get everybody else anticipating this?
Um, I don't have a true answer for you, just to be totally forthright and honest with you. I don't have a real, what I would like to call, viable answer or explanation to give you. But what I will tell you is this. Like, the way social media works now, Mike, and how fast that it happens, it only takes one or two things to kill a cycle. Now look at what just happened to Takeoff.
Yeah.
Do you think that in a time when something like that is happening and the release date is already be set, do you think it's wise to do promo maybe yesterday or today?
That's fair. That's
You,
fair.
you get what I'm saying? So when you're asking me that question today, and we're living in the day-to-day social media culture that we are, and Takeoff just passed away, and that literally is the story.
Yeah.
I personally think, just me as a hip-hop fan, and Mike, I don't know about you, I cried when Takeoff died. Like, I'm tired of this shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I am. I'm tired of this shit. Like, on every level, I'm fucking tired. Like, I'm over it. But
I don't even think it's really hit me yet. You know what I mean? Like, I'm
oh no,
still
it
in
hit me, and it
disbelief.
hit me hard. It got me evaluating some of the personal business moves I planned on making about not living in this country. It hit me on a level of how I've been dealing with Talib and Lupe and the vitriol that I've been giving back that they have given. And I know that I'm a better person than they are, because I know that they are blinded by a lot of the bullshit that they're around, whether they want to admit it or not. And I need to start behaving that way. It's got me thinking about the people I haven't talked to the last few months, because I've been going through a breakup and going through a thing. It has me thinking about all those things, him passing. And so when I think about it affecting me like that, has 41 at 41 years old being a, what I would like to call, a small-time independent media personality in this, I am pretty certain that Nas and Nas's team is looking at it. It's like, if we were planning on doing something in these 2 or 3
Right.
days, it is probably best for us business-wise to go ahead and quell all that, because even the talk with the source, which has been today, nothing to do with Nas or Katie. I told you, like, she and I and a couple other people are having a relationship talk. Mostly my poor choices in women at times, Mike, if you really want to know the truth. Like, right before I got on, I was talking about my poor choices in women. And I will always choose the prettiest girl in the room. It ends up doing, never mind, Mike. Never mind.
Jay Short with the super chat
We ain't
says,
talking about Nas today.
Jay Short says, Talib sounds like a Tipper Gore from the 90s. Let's see. Michael Williams with the super chat says, have you ever heard anything about Migos / Future having issues? They both arguably impacted the sound of rap more than any other artist in the past 10 years, but they only have one song together. I always wondered those things too. I think it just never really worked out. I'm sure they got a lot of unreleased stuff, and I know that Future tweeted out, that Takeoff is legendary. He tweeted that out today, I think it was. So I don't think there's ever been any issues. LP with the super chat says, Nas has been rapping for 30 years. He hasn't talked gangsta since 2002. There's still another 20 years of Nas not doing it. Prodigy never stopped.
No, that's not true. Like, Listen to Life is good. Go listen to Stay.
You think Stay is gangsta?
Listen to what he's saying.
36 Chambers says, Talib is a conscious rapper, consciously hating. Let's just keep it a buck, man. For whatever reason, man, Talib, I don't want to say for whatever reason, that Drink Champs conversation that Ye had in episode 1, or the first time around, really got to Talib, man. Like, once Kanye said something about his hats and his rapping, he hasn't been able to get off of it.
It's very personal. It's petty.
It's very personal.
But this is, to quote my man on his birthday, Mike, there's a war going on outside. No man is safe from. You can run, but you can't hide forever. Mike, from these streets that they done took. You walking with your head down, scared to look. You shook, because ain't no such thing as halfway crooks. They never around when the beef cooks.
Yeah, man. Prodigy was something different, man. That's not gangster rap, man. That's
That's not gangster, Mike. That's cautionary tale. Letting you know what
right.
time it is, Mike. Mike, listen, I can speak to that in a religious aspect of God versus the devil. There's a war going on outside. No man is safe from. You can run, but you can't hide forever from these streets that we done took. You walking with your head down, scared to look. You shook. Mike, I could give you a spiritual dissertation on the breakdown of that. Don't tell me Prodigy's a gangster rapper.
Leroy Green. What
Listen,
up, Leroy? He says, when the smoke clears, gangster rap will be dying, literally, and conscious rap will offer a
listen to
path
this.
forward and love. I said, I love gangster rap, but still, I'm going to tell you this. I think that when it comes to hardcore rap music, let's just say it like that, because I do think there is a such thing as hardcore rap music. The energy that it brings off and the chakras that it ignites, it's undeniable. It's just not going anywhere. I mean, they're going to continue to push that on a high, massive, in industry level. The conscious stuff sonically just doesn't do to people what those songs do. From a chakra sense. I mean, you see when people play Knuck If You Buck, they're going crazy 20 years later. I mean, even if we play I Don't Like right now, and when you're older, you play this stuff in the gym. But you know what
Right.
I'm saying? Like the people who are, still going out, this shit hits them on a different level, man. They not riding out to the light. They're not. I know y'all would like for that to be the truth, but it's not. It's never
So
gonna
this
happen.
is so this is so this is what I have to submit to you about that. Don't believe the hype, like Public Enemy said. A lot of these quote unquote conscious rappers, well, they believe the hype about their consciousness more than the gangster rappers believe the hype about their gangster rap isms. You get what I'm saying?
Talib's
And
a
you really
DJ. You think he ain't never played no Chief Keef in a set?
who?
Talib, he's a DJ. You think that he ain't never sat there and listened to no Lil Jon or something like that and was like turned up
See,
with
that's what I
everybody
mean.
else?
And he's doing himself such a disservice. There's room for, I'm gonna tell you what Anthony Hamilton told me one time when I met him. There's room for all of us on the stage, brother.
Definitely.
There's room for all of us on the stage.
Melvin Wright with the super chat says, Coop, people have to know that he has material coming out. Not necessarily him promoting, but he has a team. Where are they?
That's what I mean. Takeoff just passed, and that's a pretty major thing, especially seeing how they just dropped the album. They are culturally relevant to a younger generation and demographic that streams music heavily. Listen to what I'm saying. They are part of a younger demographic and generation that streams music heavily. And so if Nas's team has been focal point, because the focal point is not quality of albums, the focal point is not GOAT talk. I'm going to tell you just like this, Mike. And I think I said this to you behind the scenes, and I'm going to say it live now. Serena Williams just retired. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
For many of us that saw her play, she's the greatest tennis player ever. Not just male or female. Period. Mike, 50 years from now, because we're the same age, when she's 90, she's going to be alive. I just feel that. When she's still alive, Mike, we're going to be able to walk into that trophy case room. And you'll be able to see the evidence that she was arguably the greatest tennis player ever. Like, there's going to be evidence. There's going to be all the trophies hanging on the wall. There's the Wimbledon, French Open, Australian Open, and U.S. Open trophies as a singles player. They're the doubles trophies with her sister Venus. There's all the ATP titles for being the number one ranked player at the end of the year. Like all these other smaller accolades and awards, like her trophy case is sick, Mike. It's as sick as anybody's ever been in the history of professional sports. And when we are gone and not able to talk about her as the greatest tennis player of all time, you want to know what she's going to have as evidence?
Yeah.
The trophies, the trophy case. There is not an all-time great MC that has a trophy case as bare as Nas's, and that's what this is about. Tupac don't have this issue. Biggie don't have this issue. Jay don't have this issue. If you want to throw Eminem into this conversation, for those that feel the way, don't have this issue, Mike.
Yeah.
We're all saying that he's the GOAT. We're not going to live forever. The trophies need to be in the motherfucking case. Why don't niggas understand that shit? Illmatic being in your motherfucking digital download or in your CD case or on your vinyl. No. That nigga needs a plaque that says that Illmatic went diamond. Don't y'all understand that? Why do people not understand that?
I don't know. I think
Serena
what it
Williams'
is,
trophy case, Mike,
I
says
don't I
that
don't
she
think
might
it's the
be the
fact that
greatest tennis
people.
player. Her trophy case looked better than Federer, Nadal's, and Djokovic. She got them doubles titles, Mike.
I feel you.
Trophy
I
case
don't think
looks
it's a
sick.
thing that people don't understand. I think
No,
that
they don't,
it's
Mike. No,
one
they
of
don't.
those
Not the way niggas
things.
been talking to me
No, no,
behind the
no,
scenes. It's
no.
like, no, they don't.
Let me finish.
No,
Coop.
they don't.
I
They want
think
Nas to be the people's champ forever. We're all going to die. We're on trophy case shit.
this is what I was gonna say. I think that they just like, what else can I do? Because I mean, the fans are supporting to the level that they know how. I mean, they love
I
Nas's
get that.
music,
Hold on. But
and it's
hold
like
on. Listen
you
to what you
can't.
said,
What
Mike,
can
that
they
they know
do?
how. I've been trying to explain to people the new know-how, and people been looking at me. It's like, but we need the team to do that. It's like, no. The team needs y'all to understand that this is not 1994. You're not going to the store to buy Illmatic. Yo, this is what I'm
Well,
saying,
I
Mike.
think
When you
the
post on,
answer
hold
is
on,
to
if you're a
get
Nas fan,
more.
Mike, no, let me finish. If you're a Nas fan, like, do you post Nas on your Instagram posts, like when you're using the music for effects, or on Twitter? Like, are you using his songs? Are you using whatever's current or whatever's popping and trending? Like, do you really stream The World Is Yours? Or do you just play it from your download that you already have that really doesn't help him? It helps you feel nostalgic about the greatest MC of all time, whose trophy case don't look like Tupac, Biggie, and Jay-Z's trophy case, quite frankly. It just don't.
But what does the
In
trophy
terms of the
case look
sales and the
like?
numbers. I don't know what part of this is so difficult.
But what does the trophy case look like for when physical records were being sold? You know what I'm saying? Because again, the streaming era is some tricky stuff.
Mike,
And
this
I
is
don't even
exactly
believe
why
the
he didn't
streaming
make.
numbers.
No, listen to what I'm saying. This is why he didn't make Illmatic again.
Well, this
Because
is
the
what I'm gonna
numbers didn't
say.
make sense.
I'm gonna
The
be
numbers
one.
on It Was Written in I Am made sense, though. Yeah, they did.
I'm gonna be 100% honest here. Drake and 21 Savage are dropping Friday. Drake's first week numbers are always crazy, and so KD3 is dropping the week after that. I don't think it would be fair to compare the two first weeks. I just don't. I mean, I could be wrong, but normally, whenever Drake comes out with something, the numbers are crazy.
Hold
And,
on.
and his
Listen to what I'm
second week's
saying. So
probably going to be
stop.
crazy too.
So stop. This is the only genre of music that he happens in. Is he the greatest MC of all time, in your opinion?
No,
No. I mean, Nas. Is Nas the greatest MC of all time, in your
I
opinion?
think he has proven that. Yes.
Okay. This is exactly what I'm saying. If he's the greatest MC of all time, the fan base needs to act like it. Like, when I mean the fan base, I don't mean the core fan base. I mean hip hop needs to act like it. It's like, no, here's the reality of the matter. I hate to break this to people. Drake hasn't made a great album in a very long time, Mike. Matter of fact, Nas has made about 4 great albums since Drake made a great album. Okay? 21 Savage, as much as I love 21, when the last project you felt like 21 made was even close to considered to being a classic?
I mean, I think Savage Mode is his best work. The first one.
When is that, 2017?
Yeah.
2016?
Yeah, I think that's
2017.
16. No, it's 16.
2017.
It's an album of 17. Yeah. Yes, that's
17.
16.
Mike, so he's 5 years removed from his best work. Drake
No,
is 10 years from his
6.
6 years removed from his best work. Drake is at least 10 years removed from his best work. And you are telling me that because of who they are in this business, that they're supposed to be doing better numbers than Nas, who's the greatest MC of all time, on the musical run that he's run on. That doesn't make sense on any level. Not on a music level, not on an artist level. And that's exactly where I started understanding what the source was talking about. It's too much of it. Drake and 21 are dropping. I'm thinking to myself, it's like, well, 21 ain't dropped the classic in 6 years. Drake ain't got to drop the classic in 10 years. Nas, who is our greatest MC, just dropped 2 classics last year, and we are talking about Drake and 21's album. Why? Now we're fucking up, not the team. Now the team going to do some sort of rollout. Mike, the rollout is probably going to start, and be based off of how they see Drake and 21 numbers go. Because I'll tell you what, just as a businessman, somebody with a business degree, like for me, I wouldn't do any rollout until I saw 21 and Drake's numbers, because most like you and most people think, oh, well, they're supposed to do crazy numbers. And if they don't do crazy numbers, I would minimize the Nas rollout, because what the fuck are you shooting for if Drake and 21 aren't going to do those numbers? Because apparently being the greatest MC of all time and making 2 classic albums arguably last year isn't enough.
Well, I don't think rap skills in this genre have ever really sold the records. I mean, I think we know that singles sell the records, and I think that to play the singles game on a mainstream level now, I mean, you got to play the radio game, you got to play the TV game, your stuff got to be in movies, and just all over the place. And I think where the disconnect is, to sell a lot of records in hip hop, you kind of have to sell to people who aren't actually hip hop fans. That is exactly why Eminem has sold so many records. You know what I'm saying? And that's why his records look so different from everybody else. I mean, we were just highlighting a song that went diamond or did crazy numbers that no one even knew the title to. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I don't think that your sales are a reflection of your skill set in this genre. And that's the weird thing. Like, my favorite hip hop albums, and I know it sucks for the artists to hear these things, are the albums that didn't really sell a lot. No, I don't know how much the Low End Theory sold. I don't really know how much the Only Built for Cuban Link sold.
It's not, I mean, to some degree, that's not true. Okay, so first of all, if I'm not mistaken, the Low End Theory did go platinum.
Did it?
Eventually, I think so. Cuban Link sold 700,000 copies his first year. It came out in the summertime. That's great.
Yeah.
Okay. Doing 700 copies when you come out in August? Yeah, that's pretty great in 1995. Okay. So like when you're saying these albums that sold, it's like, well, Mike, you love The Chronic. That's 4 million. Doggy Style is 5 million.
Yeah, The Chronic and Doggy Style.
Ready to Die is 1.5, Mike. You like those albums.
No, I love those albums. But
you want to get Ice Cube, double platinum both times with America's Most and Death Certificate, I believe. No, those albums sold, Mike.
Yeah.
They did. Some of your favorite rap albums have sold.
What about The Fix? What about The Fix? And honestly,
what it should have did.
When you look at The Blueprint, I feel like The Blueprint's probably one of Jay-Z's lesser sold albums.
Blueprint should have did 5 million, not Volume 2. Correct.
I don't think so. I mean, listen, The Blueprint's clearly the better album, but we know what sells albums and its songs. And Volume 2 had the hit singles. It had Can I Get It? It had Jigga What, Jigga Who? It had Hard Knock Life. It had Money Ain't a Thing. That one's going to sell more. Like, I could have listened to both of those albums and told you, yes, this Blueprint album's better. But if we're talking about which one's going to sell more, it's this one over here.
No, this is what people don't understand, and I think people still don't hear what I'm saying. Every box in his career has been covered. People do understand that, right? Like, you're following, right? Like, are you following? Are you following his career? Like you're ahead, so you follow Nas's career. You feel like there are some guys that I feel like if you're ahead, even if you're not the fan, you kind of follow, semi-follow, because they're so great. Ice Cube, Scarface, Jay, Nas. So this is what I'm saying. The only thing missing is
the hardware. Let me get to these super chats real quick.
Why do people not understand that? Nobody's saying he hasn't had a wonderful career.
I don't think people are.
You have to understand all this. No. All this rhetoric of him being the GOAT needs to match in the trophy case. That's it. Plain and simple. If you were in his shoes, you would want the same thing. Mike, I'm competitive. I understand exactly what the fuck is going on. It's the same reason Kobe didn't want Shaq in LA anymore. It's like, no, nigga, he's like, I'm the co-pilot on 3 rings. He's like, I need to be the main on a couple of these rings to get in the conversation. I'm not going to, we're going to end up with 7 rings together, but it's his 7 rings. I don't want to be the co-pilot on his 7 rings. I'm outside the top 10 as a co-pilot on that. I need my own hardware. He ain't had no hardware since it was written I Am, Mike. That was when we were in high school.
36 Chambers says, how do we juxtapose Nas not having a rollout with Black Star not doing one? We took them down a notch for that. How do we feel about Nas? KD3 is obviously bigger, of course, and quality goes a long way. I think we're going to get some singles from the album, and I think people are going to have access to it, so I think that's a little different.
Here we go with this shit again. It's like, okay, I'm going to stop talking about it because I don't think people get what I'm saying still. It's like y'all want Nas to be something that maybe Nas and his team don't want him to be remembered for. It's like he doesn't want to be remembered as the people's champion. He wants to be remembered as the champion because that's what he is. Stop this fucking people's champ talk shit. He's the champ, period. You
Michael
feel me?
Williams.
It's like talk about the nigga like he's Ali. And stop talking about the nigga like he's the local nigga from your hood that was the best fighter in your neighborhood. It's like, you know, the illest nigga from our neighborhood ever, right? It's like, yeah. Muhammad Ali will whoop that nigga ass, though. Talk about him like he's Ali.
Michael Williams with the super chat says, Coop, I was wondering if your Nas source ever touched on why he dropped Magic as a surprise album. Did she say if Nas noticed the media ignoring it?
I literally have said, this is what I mean about how people do not listen. I've literally said multiple times on this show since I talked to the source that Magic was made in a week specifically for fans who were clamoring for him to go to an Illmatic, just straight up MCing style of rhyming that he has not done, that they still clamor for. I've said this multiple times. This is what I mean about.
They might not have been in the room.
I mean, no, I've said it multiple times. Like our shit circulates. We get over 100,000 downloads a month, Mike. Like just on YouTube, we get over 100,000 views a month. That's not counting the Spotify, the Apple streams. No. I've been saying this repeatedly because this is what I'm talking about. People be like, oh, no. It's not like that. It's like, yes, it is. I just said that.
Speaking of those numbers, if anybody wants to advertise with us on this podcast, make sure you email info@accordingtohiphop.com. Again, that's info@accordingtohiphop.com. Man, if anybody has a contact at Facebook where I can actually talk to a real person, hit us up at info@accordingtohiphop.com too. Because I got to holler at them people at Facebook. They be... It's nothing but robots over there.
Don't people know there's no such thing as publicity? Like, even the conversation right now that's being had about all of this isn't normally even the type of rhetoric that's centered around a Nas album. Don't people understand that? Like, don't y'all play chess at all? And like understand that it's like a Nas album is dropping and we're talking about numbers. You want to know why we're talking about numbers? Because we never talk about numbers when we talk about Nas. We always talk about what he does for the culture and how he's the greatest MC of all time and how much we love him. It's like, okay, well then be able to shift your focus. Because here's what I know, Mike. Rafael Nadal's my favorite player. Mike, he's my favorite player when he plays on hard courts at the Australian Open. He's my favorite player when he plays on clay courts at the French Open. He's my favorite player when he plays on grass at Wimbledon. You feel what I'm saying? No matter the surface, no matter the task, no matter what he's up against, whether he's the favorite or not. Oh, I'm behind Rafael Nadal 100% when he's stepping into a major because he's who I put my money behind. You feel me? I know if he's stepping into the French, oh, that's where you should really put your money. But because he's my guy, Mike, I still put my money with him on the Australian and on Wimbledon and definitely the U.S. Open. You feel me?
I feel you. LP with the super chat says, cool. It's that Nas means more to his fans than the numbers. Than superficial metrics. They care about the quality only. Nas is responsible for that. Melvin, right?
He's not. No, he's not responsible for that, Mike. He's already given us plenty of classic albums. He's not responsible for giving us more classic material. Like, no, he's not. You get what I'm saying about how the fans like get these unfair expectations? It's like, no, it's the quality of the material. If you don't shut up with that artsy shit, it's like, have you been like, let's have a real conversation. Do you want to know why we don't need to talk about this music? You know why we don't need to talk about the music on KD3?
Wow. It's a given.
KD 1, 2, and Magic, Mike.
Melvin Wright with a super chat
Why
says,
are we questioning him musically if he's the greatest MC of all time and he's on this run? You want to talk about if the music gonna be good? You shouldn't be worried about that. I think we know what the music gonna sound like, Mike.
They on a roll. Melvin Wright with the super chat says, how can the fans support something they know nothing about? Takeoff death aside, there hasn't been a post on social media since October 18th. Hit Boy with the golden bars was only on his page.
First of all, that doesn't even make any sense when you say there hasn't been a post since the 18th, and then you bring up Hit Boy posting the gold bars on his page.
Well, he's talking about a post on Nas's page.
No, Mike, who's the executive producer of KD3? Do you see how people be talking stupid? Like that is some dumb shit to say.
But they want to see it on
Nas's page. They haven't promoted
page.
Anything. The executive producer of the album did a post on Friday.
But they want to see Nas post something. It's his album.
And when do you see that shit? That's what I'm saying. It's like, when do you see that? Like, I follow Nas like on Instagram, Mike. I don't see him post shit like that. That is what everybody else. He's Nas. Do you see Jay post shit like that, Mike?
Well, that's what I'll say. Last album Jay put out was 444. He had like all these fours around the city of New York. And again, this is 2017. Social media was popping, but I think it's at a different level now. There's a lot of things you can do. But so he did have a promotional run, and he actually built some sort of allure to that effort and its release. So there was some level of a promotional run without doing media. I think he did that one interview with the New York Times. That was it. But what I was gonna say is, wouldn't it be kind of cool? Like, we got 9 days left, like kind of revealing song titles a day,
Okay.
or revealing pieces of the album cover or things of that nature. Well, I mean, we got the album cover, but like the back cover and like maybe different songs and maybe a Wheel of Fortune type of thing.
Can
I mean,
ask you something,
there's a
Mike?
lot
Can
of
I ask
things that
you
could be
something?
done.
No, can I ask you something?
Sure.
Realistically, if Jay-Z did a commercial with LeBron James for Nike 2 weeks before we knew his album was coming out, would we say he wasn't doing enough promotion? Like, and I'm saying this to you, and I'm just gonna question you a little bit, and I mean this as gently as possible, Mike. When you say that, you're kind of being part of the problem and making the point for me. It's like he just did a whole national TV ad with the greatest basketball player of this generation, and and literally the tag behind it is defeating Father Time. And the only two people standing in the picture with Father Time are Nas and LeBron James. And you all think he needs to do more promotion. This is what I'm talking about. If that was Jay-Z, the promotion would be done and we would be good. Mike, you know better. You cannot tell me that I'm wrong for that. If Jay just popped out and did that one spot at 30 years in the game, if Jay pops out and does that one LeBron James spot, that is all that the people need to get fueled behind the album. Tell me that I'm wrong.
Let's look at Jay-Z's last two albums, right? The one, Holy Grail. You remember he had that commercial like right before the 4th of July. I want to say it was like All-Star Weekend or something. Was it baseball? Something like that.
Right.
The major spots. He had all of the producers in there. Like, those are the things that are kind of getting people energized about the music, which was a big letdown in my personal opinion. But I'll say this to say this. I'm saying that to say this. I think if he would have posed with LeBron, I don't think that would have been the only thing he did. Now, I ain't saying that we're not going to see anything. Like you said, Takeoff's unfortunate demise and passing, I'm sure out of sensitivity and out of just being a human being, you just want to pause on a lot of things. I hope we do see something in the upcoming weeks that kind of gears people up for the album. And again, I mean, people's attention spans in today's era, they're just small. You know what I'm saying? So you have to do things, even though you shouldn't have to do these things. Like you said, they've earned this and they're on a roll. They shouldn't have to do these things, but you still have to.
That's what I'm saying. So it's like, hold on, this is what I'm saying. So Leroy, hold on, somebody just put 444 had a Sprint deal, if I remember correctly. You're right. 444 had a Sprint deal.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Sprint is the United States. Nike is global. He just did a commercial with a global brand with one of sports' biggest global figures. So what I'm trying to tell you is that he just promotional wise did anything bigger than what Jay did for 444, and y'all are saying that it's not enough. He just did a commercial with one of the world's biggest global brands, with one of the world's biggest global icons, and y'all are sitting up here saying he needs to do more and trying to talk about how Jay had Sprint for 444. That's Nike. Mike, let's go ahead and put it on a scale. Nike globally or Sprint globally? Nike.
But when
LeBron James globally? Like, you get what I'm
I feel
saying?
what
So
you're
what? So
saying, but
it's
honestly,
no. This is part of the problem,
let
Mike.
me.
You're gonna let me finish this because you kind of contributed to the problem with your rhetoric. That's what I'm saying. Like, because you're like, oh well, Jay, this. It's like Jay did nothing as big as this, and we were all in heavy anticipation.
Well,
Right.
no, Jay had the whole. All right, if we go back to Holy Grail,
He
he
did
had the
nothing as
whole.
big as doing a spot for Nike with LeBron for 444. That is a fact.
I hear what you're saying, Coop, but that's Nike. It honestly doesn't really translate in the music in the way that,
Yes, Mike,
in
Nike
the
will
way that.
translate the music, Mike. That is a lie,
No,
Mike. You are
listen, let
lying
me,
right
Coop,
now.
let me finish.
That is a lie. Nike
Coop,
doesn't translate the music, Mike.
Coop. How do we stream our music? Our cellular phone service, right?
Mike, who buy Nike?
Cool,
Who
cool.
buy Nike in
I
America,
hear what
Mike?
you're saying. Look, let me put it in these terms. Doing a deal with Sprint is honestly like a nigga doing a deal with a Sam Goody back in the day. They're actually, or Best Buy, they're actually selling the CDs. The deals that Jay is doing, that Jay was dealing with for these individual albums were directly reflections of streaming. Sprint, cell phone service, right? The Holy Grail album, he had an app where you had to download to listen to the album. I'm not saying you're wrong. Obviously, Nike is Nike. What I'm saying is the relationships that he was using for his rollouts were direct correlations of streaming and streaming services. Not to mention that he had Tidal and it was coming out under Tidal for the first week exclusively. So that bumped up the streams there too. So it's a little different in that way. That's all I'm saying.
No,
I'm not disparaging the Nike move. I think the Nike move is great. It's smart.
No, you just said it wasn't enough, Mike.
I think he still needs to do more. Yeah.
But you didn't say that when Jay was dropping 444 and doing a Sprint deal. Why? You feel me? Like, why didn't you say that when Jay was doing just a Sprint deal?
I'll say this because Jay had the exclusivity of Tidal, and I think that him and Beyonce have had the advantage. And we've seen this with Beyonce's recent release, with them not having that exclusivity with Tidal, with him, basically selling his shares to Jack Dorsey. That took a lot of allure away from her new album. When they were able to exclusively have their albums on Tidal, that did a lot for their promotion alone because they knew that, you could only get it here. So that kind of helped out a lot of the work that he needed to do. You know what I'm saying? Because if certain people got Tidal and they're listening to the album and then another person can't listen to the album, like, man, I want to hear this album, it bumps up the numbers.
Can I just tell you something? This is what I mean about how, like, this conversation is so funny to me. I've never seen this guy go do an ad like this for Nike or do an ad like this with LeBron. Neither has anybody else. And that alone should give you an indicator in, like, your brain that he's never done anything like that.
You're right.
And so the fact, listen to what I'm saying. He's 30 years in the game. You've never seen him make a move like that. Don't tell me that the numbers don't matter.
No, I agree with you.
So why are people acting like, so listen, instead of acknowledging the fact that he's 30 years in the game and he's making the type of move that he's never made before, which is obviously, listen to what I'm saying, garner different traction outside of his core base. Like, you want to know why that might be? Because the core base is not
let him grow.
Thank you. And so the people that are in here saying these things that they're saying, they think they're part of the solution. And I've been trying to tell you in a nice way, if you love him and you think he's the GOAT, the way that you've been talking is not part of his solution. And if you're the type of fan that supports the artist, I've been telling you, based on the insight that I've been given and based on what I am seeing blatantly happen, has in him doing a Nike ad with LeBron James when he is usually low key. Isn't he usually low key?
Yeah.
Just did a Nike ad with LeBron James. How much more plain insight does his fan base need to see that it's like, oh, go support him because he's actively looking for a new fan base because you're not supporting him to the level that his contemporaries that are considered as great as him get supported traditionally when they drop projects. You don't have to like it. You got to respect it. You got to move forward. I'm not the one in my feelings. It's actually the Nas fans that don't want to grow up and get past Illmatic and it was written that are in their feelings. And they need to understand that he's trying to do something different with this stretch of his career. And it's not to be your Illmatic and it was written champion. He already did that. You're asking him to do that again at 50? That's disgusting. Nobody asked Mick Jagger to go back and be Mick Jagger at 20.
That's not what I'm asking. This is all I'm
It kind of
saying.
seems like you are, though,
No,
Mike. To
this
be
is what
honest
this is
with
what
you,
I'm suggesting,
so clarify.
and I want to clarify. I just think in my head, and I know that whenever Nas posts anything, he posts himself. You know, he gets traction. Not even just with his platform. It'll get on the Shade Room, yada yada. You know, we'll post it. People love it. But you know, it's like I think just even a simple post like that about the album being on the way. I mean, even when we post the album cover, you know, it went crazy. The traction went crazy. And I think that all I'm saying is the attention span of the people out there. When you don't have MSNBC in your back pocket and willing to go out there and do a whole dissertation on your verse, you know, give the people a little countdown or something where you're at. And I think they're probably going to do something like that. But I'm not criticizing the work that has been done. I'm just saying from an independent standpoint and from a standpoint where, like I said, if we're talking about Jay-Z, I mean, we know that the media he's Beyonce's husband. The media is all on Jay. So it's a little different. It's like, you understand when you got to do a little, I hate to say, when you got to do a little bit more. Like,
so that's what I'm saying. Listen to what I'm saying. Let's have this conversation respectfully, since you even just forced that part of the conversation. You just said do a little bit more. Mike, Nike ad with LeBron that he never does.
Yeah,
that is the doing more.
I feel that.
That does normally do. And so he already just played his part on the first part of this run. The first part of this run, with him doing an ad campaign that he doesn't normally do around the time that his core fan base knows that he's about to drop music. Like, the average fan may not know that he's about to drop, but his fan base knows he's about to drop, and that fan base has seen that LeBron commercial and that Nike commercial.
Did he post that Nike commercial on his platform?
I'm not totally certain, but I want you to connect some dots for me. It's like, what does that say to you? That sounds like somebody that's trying to do some sort of promotion and push, a promotion and push that's outside of their box. People that promote and push outside of their box, Mike, are either trying to get the people in the box re-galvanized or trying to find a new box. And so what I'm saying is that a lot of how KD3 does may determine how the music sounds too, because he can't keep on giving us stuff that's not making sense for him to make it, because he's an independent artist now.
Right.
You know?
Well, I see him promoting
and he'll be 50 next year. And so 50-year-old artists who are multimillionaires like multiple times from doing other things probably don't want to feed a base that's not even making it financially feasible for them to keep on doing it when they can go make millions of dollars other ways. That is part of the reason why you really haven't heard an album from Jay like that, Mike. It's not just that the bars aren't there. Business-wise, it does not make sense for him to do an album.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. Jay Short with the super chat says, old Nas fans are low-key hating on the KD series. They're mad it's not a Premier or AZ collabo and not supporting the new stuff. Game says, everyone Coop says no, take a shot. Every time Coop says no, take a shot. Let's see.
Or every time you give a super chat.
LP with the super chat says, Nas still selling more relevant artists like Freddie, Griselda, Joey, Jeezy, NBA Youngboy, and a bunch of others. What more do they want numbers-wise? Sounds like he wants a Lifetime award.
I just brought up Biggie and Tupac and Jay-Z, and those are the names that you gave me? Like, stop playing yourself. Like, we talking about Nas. Not any disrespect to those guys, but those guys aren't in Nas's pantheon as an MC. So, like, end of discussion with that. That's what I mean about the perspective of it. It's like, oh, well, he's outselling these guys. He's supposed to. He's Nas.
Well, he's Nas. It's
No,
a
he's
whole different
Nas.
era
Like,
though.
no,
So
no, like,
I
for
think they're
whatever people
saying
think
that
about Taylor
to
Swift, no, for whatever people think about Taylor Swift, Mike, you understand she's an excellent songwriter and very talented individual.
she does
Very
numbers.
talented in songwriting. Like the numbers that she just did, just an indicator
Proves that
of
the
the
numbers are
machine there
out there.
is. No, the numbers are stupid. You have to understand, she's extremely talented. You know that her talent has a lot to do with that money. She's a wonderful songwriter and a very talented artist and singer. Like, it's not just the machine. She's talented. And her fan base gets behind her talent every single time, Mike, with fervor.
I think the
With
machine
fervor, they
has
get
something to
behind
do
her
with it.
talent.
I think the machine has something to do with it. It's not like she's an Adele
Mike,
or something. And even with Adele, the machine has something to do with it.
hold on. How much of Adele stuff does Adele write?
She writes most of her stuff, I thought.
Okay, so she's a
If
better
not
singer
all
than
of her
Taylor
stuff.
Swift.
I believe she
Hold
writes
on, do you
all of her
find her to
stuff.
be a more versatile songwriter than Taylor Swift?
Hmm?
Is she a more versatile songwriter than Taylor Swift?
I think she's a better songwriter than Taylor Swift.
I didn't ask you that. I asked you if she was more versatile.
I don't.
Because
I
Jay's
can't
not better,
really.
but the thing people always used to say about Jay versus Nas is that, well, he's more versatile,
I can't really.
right?
I can't really speak to Taylor Swift's versatility. She sounds the same to me.
I mean, as a writer, Mike, I'm talking about the things she writes. As a writer, that's why I said her versatility as a writer.
Again, I guess I wouldn't be the person to ask on that.
Okay, no, and that's fair.
Yeah.
You know, no, that's fair.
Melvin Wright with the super chat says, "Look at how many followers Hit Boy has compared to Nas, and repeat the stupid comment again."
What?
Let's see. LP with the super chat says he's responsible for the perception of not caring about the numbers. Coop, you be quick to say we're not listening, and you completely take comments out of context.
I don't. That's that. You want to know what? That's a total falsehood, Mike. You want to know why it's a total falsehood? Because in the midst of his prime, I'm going to list off some of the lead singles that got made. If I Rule the World, Street Dreams, Hate Me Now, You Owe Me, Nostradamus, Uchi Wally.
Yeah.
Oh no. Been trying to sell records and a lot of records
I
for
can.
a minute. Stop playing with me. I can. Yeah, stop playing with me. That's what I'm saying. I'm bringing up records from the first part of his run when he was trying to make hit records like that.
Even the record
And
with
the
his
fans
father.
weren't- look, and the fans didn't get it behind it all the way then. That's why now he's actually making the quality music that we want to make without trying to make those hit singles. Oh, well, we need to get it behind it this time because we were like, well, I don't want to hear If I Rule the World and Hate Me Now and You Owe Me, which is fair. But now he's making Store Run and Nobody and 4016 Building and Ugly. And so you need to jump your ass behind that.
Nobody would have been such a hit in 2002.
Nobody would have been epic. Nobody would have went platinum in his prime. Like the song, the single.
I agree with you. Michael Williams with the super chat says, Jay doesn't need to promote. He's way bigger than Nas. The media literally covers the God Did verse more than all of Nas's hit boy albums. Come on.
We know that. We know that. That's why the people who are part of Nas's fan base need to double down, like I said.
But again,
this is literally my
all
point.
I'm saying,
this is literally my point. You know these things.
I think
you know the media doesn't give him a fair shake. You know there are other artists that are comparable to him have bigger followings.
But cool.
And I pull up and ask you to learn how to stream better and double down. And I'm a hater. I don't know what I'm talking about.
Cool.
It's like I don't understand anymore.
That's my point too. That's why I feel like, and no slight to what they're doing, I feel like he needs to double down too, because like you said, those things are out there.
Magic was the double down. What part
I'm talking
of that
about from a promotional
mixing?
standpoint, because
Oh, he's an artist. That's not his job. That's what I keep telling you.
I got you. Our man with the super
he's
chat.
Doing his job. No, he's an artist, Mike. Musically, he's done his job. Is KD1 and KD2 and Magic good enough artist-wise?
Yeah, and I told you, I think the biggest
Prince
promotional.
said that to Larry King. No, I'll never forget when Prince said that to Larry King. He's like, my job is to make the music.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking like, well, this is Prince saying it's his job to make the music. It's like, well, how you think the music sound?
Yeah. Well, again, like I said, I think KD3's biggest selling point is Magic. Our man with the super chat says, Peace, Coop. In all due respect, KD3 was not playing in the background of the commercial. That would have been a great look for Nas.
I cannot
Because
control these.
the
But you
music
have to
has.
understand. You have to understand. When I talk to people, Mike, I talk to a lot of people. I've pulled up with a lot of information, like over these last couple of years. It came from various people. This was just the first time that somebody really hit me. It's like, no, no, no. This is a direct line to something. You have to understand something. I can only take the information that I'm being given and disseminate it to the best of my ability, like, and tell you how my business mind works. So let me tell you how a source works in journalism. A source is never going to tell you something like straight up and flat out. Source is gonna let you infer, defer, and feed you shit. Like the solid shit they will feed you is the stuff that you're not supposed to say, Mike. That's how you know not to say it.
Mm-hmm.
Like the real hardcore information, that's that only built for Cuban link shit. That stay behind closed doors. The rest of it is left up for you to infer. I have a degree in business and organizational leadership. I've been in this music business, in this industry, in some sort of shape, form, or fashion on multiple occasions. I've watched his career. His highest selling album is Written, which I think like hit 3 million when I Am dropped. So really originally only did 2.5. That's his biggest selling album. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now go look at Biggie's biggest selling album. Go look at Tupac's biggest selling album. Go look at Jay's biggest selling album. Like, no, that's a real viable issue.
Well, let's do this. Let's compare it, and I think that's why they brought up Freddie and all of that stuff. We got to compare it to the landscape today, because people aren't going to be selling the records that they sold in the '90s anyway. Like that, that's just not going to happen.
Yeah, no. But I'm saying, listen, what I'm saying in relationship to his contemporaries that he was originally compared to. They all at some point did astronomical numbers, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And he's not necessarily, I don't think what I'm getting from the sources that they're not asking for astronomical numbers. They're asking for the numbers to be respectable.
Right.
This indicative of the music that's being made, Mike. And I've said this multiple times. And so people need to stop coming at me and making it seem like I'm asking for people to make him go diamond. I've literally said multiple times, I'll say it again. The numbers just need to reflect the quality of the music for today's times. Which means he clearly made the 2 best albums last year. Now, the word that I've been getting, Mike, and the way that I feel about it, if Soul Sold Separately is our album of the year, KD3 is succinctly better. Okay?
Okay.
And if it's succinctly better, quality-wise, there's nothing wrong with it, with it doing better succinctly numbers-wise. Now, is there?
Right. And I agree with the fact that...
And all this conversation is about, so people maybe need to stop inflating and conflating the things that I'm saying and just listen to what I'm saying and stop trying to like run further with it. It's like...
I think we're all trying to get to the same place, right? We all want KD3 to do well. I think that everybody just has a different perspective on how and what needs to be done.
This is what I mean. So part of the problem is that, well, people don't know how, because his main following that made him a multi-platinum rapper in the late 90s, in the mid 90s, well, we're all in our 40s and 50s now, aren't we?
Well, let me ask you this, though.
We might not know how to stream his music properly, because I'm getting privy to some things that I didn't know, Mike, and we work in this industry.
Yeah. Well, let me say this. I think that, and let's just say hypothetically, not saying this is going to happen because we know media is media or whatever, but if Nas was to appear on Good Morning America with Michael Strahan on the morning that the album comes out, I'm willing to bet that a lot of people who weren't aware that he dropped a new album, who are fans of his, who aren't really in touch with what's going on in music, would go check it out. You know what I'm saying? I think that the issue is more of an awareness as opposed to a lack of dedicated fans. And like you said, I think much of his fan base is 40 and up, and they might not be as in tune as the people who are in here in this room right now, and the ones of us who actually follow what's going on. You know what I mean? Whereas when it comes to the kids, they live this shit. You know what I mean?
So people keep acting like people are like, Coop, you got to stop and doing this, that, and the other. Like, I'm just going to tell y'all this once. Like, his people already pulled up in the chat and audited y'all. I'm not the problem. Like, Trust me, it's like some of y'all are like
I mean,
too
nobody's the
entitled to y'all opinions.
problem.
And no. I love the fact that you're entitled to your opinions here, because that is why we created this space and this forum, is to share these things. But I'm gonna tell y'all feelings aren't facts. And I'm telling you things that I've factually been told, and I'm actually trying to share with you factual ways to help. And it seems you all think I'm asking you to support more, and I'm asking you to, Mike, I'm asking people to update their formulas with the times, because as somebody that's a fan of his, from talking to the source, the main thing that I realized that has a fan of his, I haven't really been streaming his music and supporting him like I thought I was. A lot of you think that you're supporting him and you're just playing his music and making you feel good. And all I'm asking you to do, for the way that people have pulled up in here for the past 2 years and talked about him, is to pay it back by actually learning how to stream the music properly. That's not me chastising fans when I come in here. That's you not listening to what I'm saying. I'm saying y'all pulled up in here calling him the GOAT because we were talking about the media smear campaign and the yellow journalism that is blatantly going on against the man. And a lot of you follow us because of that. And we appreciate it. Well, guess what? His team got wind of that and knows that too. So they know we exist because y'all exist and y'all supported us for supporting him. Now, because we did that and because y'all did that and we did this together, they reached out to me because they know I'm ahead, Mike, and that I'm honest about what the situation really is that they feel like is going on when the numbers don't happen. And it's not that the fans don't support, it's that they don't know how to support. That's an education and information thing. And it seems like every time I try to pull up in here and be informative, people think I'm being combative. I'm not being combative. I'm trying to tell you that the way that you running it and the way you thinking about it isn't working for the guy that you claim to be supporting. And so maybe you need to get with this new God flow and get with this program. If you don't want to, that's fine. But when KD3 drops, Mike, going and just downloading it off of Spotify and Apple Music and playing it in your car that week and then forgetting about it is not about to serve him any justice for the way that you all pull up in the chat. Nas's people pulled up on me about how the people pulled up on us, not the other way around. Y'all are the reason that I got the source. That's why the source was borderline, and I could feel her tone. Like, the only reason she even talking to me is because of the people. You feel me?
Yeah.
Yeah, and so she reached out to me about trying to help the people get educated and informed. And so for any of you that have been saying this, if you're not actively streaming his music, I just don't want to hear it, because here's the thing, Mike, I just learned in the last 2 weeks how to actively and properly stream his music, which is what I've been doing since then. Exactly.
I'm looking forward to it. We literally are like a week and a half off. So yeah, next week we're really going to be counting down to it. I'm sure we're going to have a song by then. Michael Williams with the super chat. Let me get to some of these.
No, hold on 1 second, Mike. I want you to stop. LP, no, I've been watching your comments, fam. I said all of this last week while you were too busy typing in the comments to hear me speak, fam. I said the same thing last week. You just too busy typing too much, fam. Like, I love you, but stop talking so much, fam, and maybe listen to me. I might have something to offer you. Like we can't all be right, Mike. Like, I don't even know how this shit works all the way, because it just got educated and informed on it. So I'm learning, I'm bringing it back to the people, and y'all like, nah, that ain't it, Coop. I'm like, well, pretty certain it's it, seeing how I was in the same box that y'all was in, and I just changed everything. Because guess what? I'm a fan of fam and want to see him win the right way, not my way. I want to see him, I'm going to say that again, I want to see him win the right way and not my way. And so the way that I stream music just changed. How about that?
Michael Williams with the super chat says, Coop, how would Nas having a 10-second spot in a Nike commercial attract new fans? Potential new fans wouldn't even necessarily know that was Nas.
I have one quick answer for you. Mm-hmm. That's exactly where you try to galvanize the new fan base, because the people who don't know who Nas is are going to want to know and literally Google, Google, which affects the streams, Google, who is the guy in the Nike commercial next to LeBron James.
Well, let me say this. I
Right.
think, in just my
That. So
personal
no, no.
opinion. No,
Hold
let
on,
me
hold on, Mike.
finish. Let me
Don't give
finish.
me a rebuttal before we actually get some clarity on what I said. You feel me? Like as soon as I made a
Go
comment, I got a
ahead.
rebuttal from you too. That's what I mean. Like Mike, you've been contributing a little bit to what I'm talking about
I'm
because as
just
soon as I
trying to
made
play
the
devil's
comment,
advocate.
you have a devil's advocate rebuttal, and it's like no. Googling that commercial helps his cause with people who don't know who it is because that's what people do because LeBron James and Nike create that type of fandom, do they not? Who's the guy next to LeBron? Exactly.
Well, what I was gonna say is, I think that having a song in that background, and we were talking about Shazam and its plays. I think that Shazam level of discovering, and not to say that that's not coming, because again, the album is still a week and a half away. I think that, music is always going to be that selling point. You know what I'm saying? Like, new music is one of those things where I'm gonna say it like this. I think most people are gonna be like, "What song is that? Let me find out what song that is," as opposed to who is that person. I think people are more prone to. I know I do it when I hear a movie, when I see a movie on TV, and I hear a song that I like and I've never heard. I'm shazamming it. Or if I'm out
Now,
somewhere and I hear a song that's dope and I don't know what it is, I'm shazamming it. So I think that the power of commercials, music kind of, it helps for music to be involved as well, especially like you said, it's Nike and you're standing next to LeBron James.
now, Mike. Let's talk about a couple things right quick, and then we probably got to slide out of here.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Now, listen to this. First of all, and this is just the best I know. I believe the track selection for KB was still being selected while this commercial was being shot,
Okay.
and so that is some of that. Secondly, I actually agree with you, Mike. That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying that he's perfect. I'm not saying that I'm right. I can't be right because I don't know anything. I'm actually just a conductor for information right now. So there is no right or wrong for me. I can only tell you what I see and
Same
how
here.
how these conversations have literally altered the way that I'm doing things as a 41-year-old man that claims to be a lover of music and certain artists. Because I've thought about Outkast and Goody Mob and how I've been playing their music all these years. I've thought about Tupac and Big and how I've been playing their music all these years. It's not just Nas that I want to support.
Yeah.
Okay. You feel me? With the streams properly. Okay? This is not a Nas thing. This is not a Coop trying to be right thing. It's about an education and an information thing. I got too much of Madman and LP up in here talking and not listening to me and thinking that, to be honest with you. And I'm only calling you two out because I respect you guys and I like you guys. But just stop with the rhetoric. It's like the same thing with Talib. It's like, fam, don't let your opinions override the cause. Y'all be pulling up in here calling him the GOAT. All I'm telling you is that, well, then give him GOAT treatment.
Yeah.
If he's the GOAT, learn how to stream the music properly. Because I sat back and thought to myself, even think about this, Mike. Prodigy, somebody like P. He has a daughter, Santana Fox, who's an artist. I don't know if he had a will or what his shit looks like, but I really thought to myself today when she was posting pictures of him, I was like, man, I've been streaming P all wrong, and that money could be putting money in Santana's pocket to help her career grow.
Right.
You feel me?
Right.
That's not about Nas. This is about education and information. Nas is just the crux of it because he's been the crux of some of our growth because of how we've covered his media slander. And
Yeah.
the fact that people are pulling up and trying to debate with me and argue with me as if I have some sort of agenda or like I'm being paid something is absurd, Mike. And people just need to stop and chill out. Like, we love how opinionated and thoughtful y'all are, but it's not about right. It's not about wrong. It's about being educated and informed. So anybody talking about Coop being right, and then talking about Coop being wrong, and talking about the team being right, anybody talking about the team being wrong, well, you're missing the message, which is education and information. Do you know how to stream properly? I bought this up last week, LP, for minutes at a time when you weren't listening while I was watching you talk in the chat. That's ridiculous, fam. Now, come on.
Daryl Baxter with the super chat says, "Dude, y'all, we need to understand that there are a few people in our demo that listen to new music. People our age aren't checking for new music." Yeah, I mean that's kind of what I was saying as far as I think they would if they knew. Like the Osley Brothers put out an album a couple weeks back. I mean,
Mhm.
Beyonce's on the album. Takeoff and Quavo are on the album. 2 Chainz is on the album. But if I wasn't a person that just always sought out new music, I would have never known it. And I know my parents don't know it. And they're of the Isley Brothers generation. And it's a good album too. It's
Yeah.
just
Did
it
you?
gets I think as you get older, and that's why we see the people who really do a lot of numbers are younger artists, because as you get older, fan base gets older and there's a lot less into
No.
what's new that's coming out. And we're also set, I think this is just human nature, we're also set on the shit that we grew up on. You know what I'm saying? Like, for the most part.
Like I'm gonna tell y'all just like this. It's like when I'm telling y'all that y'all tripping, oh, that ain't me telling you that you tripping. So you just
Let's
keep on
not
thinking that
focus
you're
on
right.
the
You feel what I'm
negative,
saying? It's
though.
just like I don't tell our following or our base that they tripping. Like, but I'll tell you what people be telling me when they be pulling up in our comments. Mike, famous people be in here and like be hit. Like that's what I'm saying. Is it's like no. I know from how other famous people, a couple other people have hit me outside of Nas's camp about how people were talking in the chant while all this has been going on. It's like, oh no, it's like, oh, these people are hardcore about it. They're like, but they're just not listening to you because they want to be right. It's like, no, Miss Mo, y'all do want to be right. If you're turned off by the rollout, it's just because you're not listening because you don't want to alter the way that you want to follow Nas. It's like, well, he just made, and this is what I mean. He made magic for us. Like when the source told me that, that's when I was like, oh no, now you have my attention, because it felt like he made that for us. And when I got confirmation that that was made for the core fan base and following, what rapper this late into their career does that for a fan base?
Nah, that's
Like
fair.
that's super special. Like I hold Magic even higher off the intent now. The intent was to give us an Illmatic like product, and that was confirmed by the source. It's like, no, I'm going to learn how to stream differently now. Because, Mike, even when I was talking to her, it was like one of those things. It's like, oh, I stream, I download, Spotify do playlists. Mike, I'm going to tell you a conversation that I want to have with her. I don't know how our Spotify playlists help artists, and if those things that get played on our Spotify playlist help with the artist streams. Because if so, I need to get back on my playlist game, maybe.
Yeah.
Because I want to help all the artists win that make great music. Like Pray for Paris, Mike, like Alfredo. Like I want all these things to have great streams. I didn't know. Stop pulling up in here telling me no when you're the same damn age as me and moving the same way that I move. No, you didn't know. And no, I'm
Chris
not wrong because I'm not right. I'm just giving you information.
Chris Daughtery with the super chat says, agree, Coop. Grammys and the NYSM tour, Primo songs, Jay do one verse, global impact immediately. Enough. Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. I think that
Y'all bugging, man. Like this is what I'm saying. You understand that, and I'm gonna say this, and then we need to go.
he said enough. He said enough said. I meant okay. Gotcha,
Jay
Chris.
Z has media channels that every time he comes out, they roll out and support him and talk about him. And you understand, none of his fan base does any of this. You understand that? And that's part of the problem. And I know that his camp sees that too. It's like Jay don't deal with any of these issues from the base. When media entities come out with sources and words from the camp about stuff, it gets taken as gospel, and then you run.
Well, I
You
think the
feel me?
thing is too, man, and it's like I think the certain artists set a tone with.
Oh, love me
Let
more
me finish.
meticulous.
Let
Like
me
I know
finish.
that you managed an artist. Love me more meticulous. You've told me like
Cool,
17
cool,
times.
cool, cool. Let me
I
finish.
managed an artist too. Like that's what I'm saying. It's like you managing an
Cool.
artist
Can
doesn't
I
mean
finish? Come on, man. Can I finish? I think that certain artists set a tone with their fan base. I think we saw this even with like Common. Like I remember when Common made Electric Circus, and I didn't think Electric Circus was as bad as people made it seem. I thought he was experimenting on some things, and I think that when you got acts like Outkast who continuously experimented, they set that tone for their audience early. I think Jay, Biggie, and those guys set a tone for their audience early that they were going to constantly change. Even when they did duds, whatever, I'm just going to constantly do these things, and that's why their audience gives them the room for that. I think that also when Nas is in that chamber that we love so much, and I can speak for myself, I think that we hold him so high for that. Anything that's outside of that that comes short, the fan base gets really animated about. And I just think where a lot of this is coming from. A lot of this is on both sides is coming from a place of love.
I've never seen a fan base do this, Mike. I mean, like for me, I've just been taken back. I've never seen a fan base do this. It's like we don't agree.
It's unique. It's very unique.
It's unique. That's what I mean. Is like these are the same people that have been pulling up and calling him the GOAT. That's like, oh, we don't agree with any of this. We don't like it. It's because of how Nas did things. It's like, no, he never did shit like that. It's like he made You Owe Me. Did you ever think with R. Kelly and Hate Me Now?
Well, I mean,
and If I Ruled the World and Street Dreams and the Street Dreams remix. This has always been a goal. People keep trying to act like it wasn't a goal. You get what I'm saying? That's why I'm bringing up that time when he was making those records. Those records are succinctly built for radio to do what? Sell.
To sell records. I mean, I think that, again, this is about how incredible he is, because we don't even do this to Snoop. And Snoop's great. Nobody hangs Doggy Style over Snoop's head like, yo, man, if it ain't Doggy Style, I'm not listening to it. And I don't know if that's a lot of media work that's been done on Nas over the years and continuously bringing up Illmatic, and even when it doesn't need to be brought up, maybe that has something to do with it. But, I think that us acknowledging all these things is ways to move past it. Blue Collar Hustler with the super chat says, Nas did post the KD3 cover and the release date. 232,000 people liked it. That's at least 232,000 that should be sold. Let's not play here. Nas does do promo. Okay. I'm just trying to play devil's advocate here.
Hold on, listen. This is one of his fan bases that are literally pulling up in here saying that he doesn't do promo. Everybody that's been saying Coop is wrong hasn't talked to me once about how they stream. I haven't got one message about how these people are streaming music. And that's really the really crux of the conversation. So for everybody that's telling me that I'm wrong, tell me how you stream Nas's music. Specifically, Love Me More Meticulous, Miss No, LP, and Madman, who have been making most of these comments for the last few weeks in the chat with fervor. Show me how you stream his music. Show me how you really support, because you're calling me wrong. I haven't said anything wrong. I've asked you to support somebody.
What is anybody saying you're wrong about?
That's what I'm saying. People keep being like, you're wrong. This isn't how things are supposed to be handled. It's
then
like,
why are you even acknowledging
it?
Why are you even acknowledging
it? These are some of our loyal fans who follow us and support us, Mike. So this is not normal to me. Like, I want you to understand this. The way Love Me More Meticulous, Miss Mo, Madman, and LP have been talking, they have not talked this way for the entirety of the time that they have been in this room until I started forging this conversation. Like, I didn't even know Love Me More Meticulous managed artist until this came up. And now she's made it a point to repeat it directly as if that gives her more credence. Like, I respect the fact that she managed an artist. But at the end of the day, it's like, well, that's not about to make me change the sentiment from the information I've been getting.
The information
is the same.
The bottom line is, what do y'all think he's wrong about?
Right. That's what I'm saying.
That's it. That's all we need to ask. We don't need all the back and forth. Like, LP with the super chat says,
I don't stream, Coop. Here we go. Madman, I don't stream. Well, Madman, if you don't stream, then be quiet, fam. That's what I'm saying. Like, respectfully, go support him the way that you support him and do that. This isn't about you. This is about people like you that don't stream, though. So if you're not going to stream, Madman, then you're the person that the source is talking about that's trapped in the 90s, and you're not really supporting him properly today. Don't talk about him anymore, then, fam, because you're not really supporting. That's what I'm saying.
I think that hold on. I do think
support the way that you want to support, but understand that's not helping him in today's time.
Well, no, I think that even when you buy the records, that is support, and that's added to the record.
Physical copies is not. The source literally sent me a message. The physical copies is not the issues we are talking about.
Okay, so but do they all culminate together, or
they all culminate together on different aggregated data? There's even certain platforms that get you more streams and services for it, which really needs to be more of the conversation. So, Madman, it's like,
because I think that's where the disconnect is here. I mean, right. I think everybody.
What I'm saying is that Madman, if you don't stream and you're telling me that you support him, understand that it's like, well, you're not really supporting him to the fullest that you could, because I'm telling you, you probably already have apps and services set up that stream, and you could be supporting him further, and you're not, because you don't have the education and information. And if you would stop calling me wrong so much and stop being so defensive with me and just listen, you would understand that it's like, no, fam, buy the physical copies. Do you know that a lot of this streaming stuff that can help him can be done on Twitter and YouTube and like Google, like for free? Like, do you understand that? Because if you don't understand that, because Madman repeatedly said, well, I don't stream. No, fam, I understand that. That's why I'm trying to talk to you. I didn't realize I wasn't streaming right either. That's what it's about. It's education and information. Now, if you just want to stick to your guns and say that I'm going to support him, that I don't stream, I respect that. Now, respect me and bow out of the conversation because we're not talking about you anymore. You feel me?
Well, I mean, I wouldn't say it like that, but
No,
I
I mean,
feel
we're
what
not.
you're
When we're
saying.
having the conversation about how to support him, and Madman is making a statement that says, well, my way of supporting him is to do the old school physical way. And I'm
Well,
like,
that's
well, that's
cool.
not the issue
That's
that we're
cool.
forging in discussion. Then you shouldn't want to forge into the conversation anymore. Stop inserting yourself to shit that don't apply to you unless you're about to start streaming his music. Modernize. I'm
Let
sure
me
he
get hold
appreciates
on.
the physical
Let me
love and
get through these
support, but
super
that's really
chats. Let me get.
not what I was talking about, Mike. And once again, have said that for weeks too. I said last week his physical copy sales are fine and has outsold Benny and Freddie physically. I said that last week.
Well, let me get through these super chats before we get up out of here. LP says, "What are your top albums this year, Coop? How much did they sell? If Nas sells the same amount, then it's a reflection of the quality. It's 2022, not 1992. Well, I
No,
guess
I'm
what would we use as a benchmark for sales, right? Um, I think that Freddie's album is a decent benchmark, and I think that when it came to streams, what we were saying, 100,000 would be where we want to be,
no. Here's what I'm
75 to
saying.
100.
No, see what people don't understand is that the people in this chat that don't stream, that are fans of Nas, are the base that the source is talking about. Like Madman, I want you to understand something right now. You are the person that the source is talking about. The person who loves Nas and supports Nas's music, but doesn't know how to support him in the modern day time because either you don't stream, don't care to stream, or are not familiar with streaming. And so when you all are saying that I'm directing this at you and that you are the wrong people, I'm telling you, no, you all are the right people because you all are just like me because I was streaming improperly too. And don't tell me that all of you are sitting up here and streaming his music in modern day form because I was very, very surprised about the things that I learned just now, Mike, and we work in this business on some sort of level. So unless you all are streaming his music and can explain to me in here how the streaming process works the way that it was explained to me, then you are the person who I need to and talk about because you're just like me. You've been supporting him, but you've been supporting him in an old school method and way
And
that
we're getting it
maybe
right.
doesn't support him properly. You are the base. The fact that Madman admitted and says, I don't stream, I buy physical copies, you're the reason that the source is talking to me.
Yeah,
Do you
yeah,
understand that?
And yeah, we can fix.
You are the one.
007 with the super chat says, I'll keep this simple. He says, the masses gravitate towards a certain sound and material. Nas wants to do numbers, he has to sell out. If Nas wants to do numbers, he has to sell out. That's not happening. That's why he's Nas. And it's a double-edged sword. I think that's where the fan base kind of feels. But I think that, there's a way that collectively people could come together and kind of change that narrative. At least for this effort, right?
No, this is right.
Jay
Miss Mo.
Short.
No, I want to. No, I need to say this to Miss Mo, like respectfully. I want to read what she said, Mike, even though she didn't pay, because Miss Mo has been one of our biggest supporters.
Of course.
And what I'm saying is, if you were chastising the old fans, you ain't streaming. But I bet you still don't know how to stream after this. This episode should be making sure fans know how to stream. Miss Mo, with all due respect, every person that's on this show watching right now at the drop of a dime can go on Google and literally Google in how to stream properly, and a whole bunch of videos will come up. And I actually said that last week too, Miss Mo, while you were in the chat.
Well, maybe we need to reiterate it. Maybe we need to reiterate it on shows.
I'm going to say it again. Everything that I'm saying this week now, I said last week. And so when people are saying, oh, well, you're not saying this, Coop, that's a total falsehood. I said all of this last week. I literally said, hey, guys, go Google how to stream on different services properly. I just did. I learned a lot. I said that last week. You can go look it up. I also brought up all of these things that are being mentioned right now that are people saying that I didn't say. I said last week. But people are too busy being opinionated in here. And I understand it because it's what we're built off of. But when we're actually trying to build something and go somewhere, I'm not saying you should listen to me. That's why I said, go listen to the information for yourself. It's called Google, how to stream music in 2022. Go look at all the information you're going to find. It's going to blow your mind.
I need to go look at it too. Jay
Mike,
Short,
you do. I didn't know. That's how
yeah.
I know these people don't know.
Jay Short
Because
says,
I didn't know either.
I agree with you on Nas shouldn't need promotion. But Coop, you're not getting it. These people don't like Nas out here like that. The love is fake.
Right. That's what it be seeming like, because it's like everybody seeming to support him. It's like, no, you want to support him your way. You want him in your box. Mike, we never did any of our other great artists like that. We wanted them in every box that they wanted to jump in, from Biggie to Pac to Jay to Prince to Michael Jackson to Janet Jackson. It's like whatever box they was jumping in, we was with.
Yeah.
And all I'm asking you to do is that, like, this is what I'm saying. It's not my job to teach you how to stream. The source didn't teach me how to stream. She told me some stuff, made me realize that I wasn't streaming properly, and I went and looked it up because we have Google, Mike. That's what's crazy about all this. Is like, y'all talking to me like I'm chastising y'all. I just asked you to Google it.
BCM.
I gotta go, Mike. I gotta go pick my daughter up, like, because this is crazy that we having
All right,
conversations.
well, I'm gonna get through these super chats and we'll get out of here. BCM says all the artists should promo themselves regardless. But yeah, you can go ahead and go, man. I know you got to get up out of here.
No.
And I'll close out
I'm
the
about to be on
show.
the phone while you're reading super chats and doing all that. Hey, I'm
Let's
on the
see.
way, sweetie. What's up?
Jay Short says, Mike,
done?
you act like 40-year-old fans still on
Yeah, it's
flip
still running late.
phones.
I'm on the way right now.
No, that's not what I'm saying. I mean, because honestly, really, 40, I'm 40. I was 12 when
I'm just telling the
Illmatic
whole
came
world.
out. So a lot of his fans are kind of in that 50 range.
I'm coming right now. All right.
Let's see. I know Coop got to get out of here. Daryl Baxter says, "Can the source ship the merch the week the album drops, so he can get sales from fans who buy merch like Taylor Swift?" They do that. I think Travis Scott was doing that as well. They were combining the merch sales with the actual album sales as well, because that does elevate your numbers. 36 Chambers says, streaming numbers won't change with 300 people in the chat streaming 20 songs a day. We can make the difference when we can here, but doesn't Nas need much larger streaming numbers to make that impact? Yeah, I agree with that too.
Hold on. Let me just say something real quick. How do you know that if you don't even know fully how streaming can work for you and how much you can contribute in one day? That's what I'm saying. I'm just finding out things about how much I can contribute. So even some of those numbers that he's putting out, well, that's not totally accurate based on the information I just found out.
Well, even with the 300 people in the chat, I mean, after this show goes live, we're like, what, 5,000, 6,000 views. So it's a lot more people who see this show
That's what I'm saying.
than people who are actually in the chat.
Yeah.
So,
like, think about this. If 6,000 people saw this show, you understand that Magic did like 22,000?
Right.
Right. So, like, don't tell me that can't impact. That's literally like somewhere between a third and fourth of the sales is just watching us right now. So it's like, no, you can make a difference.
Yeah.
I'm not going to talk about this. You want to know what I'm going to do? I'm not going to talk about it anymore, and we're going to see what happens. How about that?
Michael Williams with the super chat says, Coop, in your opinion, how many units does KD3 have to move in the first week for you to feel like Nas fan base supported him like they should?
No, I'm not going to do that anymore because I'm getting chastised for trying to like hand out educational information for 3 weeks.
Let's put out a number. We can't put out a number.
This is wrong. And at some point, like, I got to take a stance on what I've been trying to do. People have been like literally been telling me for 3 weeks that I'm chastising them when I've done nothing but try to inform them on the things that I'm not informed on, that I feel like they may not be informed on. They're not giving me any information to the contrary to show me that they're not informed. I'm going to respectfully decline to answer like anything that got to do with numbers, marketing, promotion, and streaming, since I'm chastising people about this. I'm going to stop because some of our most loyal followers have been in here and telling me that they feel a certain type of way. So out of respect for our followers, I'm not going to say anything moving forward. Y'all got it. You win.
Leroy Green says, how do you be an intern at A2HH? I'll take care of Miss Mo and the rest of them. LOL.
No, that's fine. You all got it. Like, y'all got it.
Y'all done pissed Coop off, man.
No, I'm not pissed off. This is what I mean. Like Takeoff really dying made me really realize it's like, no, I got to learn how to be the bigger person about something. It's like I'm very, very clear, Mike, as somebody who claimed to be a big supporter and fan of Nas, Mike, that I wasn't doing it properly. And so you all just keep on thinking what you're thinking. That's fine.
JB
That's
was
cool.
here, says, I'm guilty. I don't stream, but I can change.
That's all I'm saying. It's like everybody up in here acting like they streaming his shit every day. It's like, no, you're not. This is what the conversation about, Mike. I gotta go, man.
All right, man. All right, brother.
You can keep this, Mike. Yeah.
All right. Jay Short says, it's like Chris Rock says, Coop in. Love to not know. Niggas love to not know. Yeah. I mean, look, I think we all want to get to the same place. I think we all want this album to be dope. And I think that, we're all going to check it out. We're going to tell our friends or whatnot. Michael Williams at the Super Chat says, Coop KD2 accumulated over 45 million streams the first week. Those are good numbers. I think those are good numbers, too. I think that if that's 45 after Magic, I think this one, we can shoot for 60. But I do think that a single might be necessary. And I'm just a firm believer in the fact that singles actually sell albums. And I know we're in a different era where singles aren't as prevalent. Well, I don't want to say it's prevalent, but they don't circulate in the same way that they did in the radio era. So those things have to be understood as well. But I do think that there has to be a record that's going to get everybody excited about, this collection of records. And I really think that last time, man, if nobody could have been released, maybe KD2's numbers would have been different. Right? But I expect a quality album. I'm excited about the fact that we're going to get it in about a week and a half. And I believe in the fans. I think the fans are going to do their job. And I think from our end, we just want to make sure that your efforts aren't, worthless, for lack of a better term. And, everybody's streaming the right way and to make sure that those numbers connect, because we don't want to be sitting here listening to it all week and the numbers come back and be like, yo, how'd those numbers end up, being like they are, because stuff didn't register. So I know Coop's passionate about it, but that's where we all want to get to. We want to make sure that things are calculated properly. NDU Jam says, I went on to like and comment all his songs on KD1, 2, and Magic when it came out. I've been streaming Nas music since KD1. That's what's up. What's up? Let's see. Let me get to this other super chat, and we're gonna get up out of here. LP says, Mike, I would what world does Nas? In what world does Nas not need to market? We'll see again. I'm a firm believer that everybody needs to market. I think that, if you put yourself out there, everybody has to do the work. I mean, I'm a person that criticized certain presidential campaigns where people left out certain states and didn't campaign in Michigan. Or you have to run a campaign. That's part of putting out an album. Because the first thing people will say, because everybody's caught up in their everyday lives, and especially when you have an older fan base that has families, jobs, they're going to be like, I didn't know it came out. You know what I'm saying? So, not saying that you got to be out there running around in the clubs and being on a crazy promotional run like you're 25 years old, but some level of promotion does have to be done. And I think that even when we talk about Jay-Z and his promotion, it's a little different because the exclusivity of Tidal added a certain level of mystique that, other artists just don't have, where they're able to have that Tidal exclusivity, And we see how different Beyonce's release was when they no longer had that ability to do that. So, got to do the marketing work. We appreciate everybody coming through, man. I'm looking forward to Friday. We got some new music to talk about. This was a great show. Rest in peace, Takeoff. It's a tough show to do, like I said. I'm probably all over the place because it's a lot to think about when it comes to that situation. And praying for the families, praying for QC, Quavo, Offset, all of their families, man. Tough situation.